We all good? We good to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody in England say "let's rock and roll"? Does anyone say that there?
No one has ever said those words.
Is that just like a white dad, American dad thing? Like, what is
Let's
it?
rock and roll.
All right,
That's
guys,
why
let's
we always
rock
have
and
to. We have to say it with an American accent when we say it.
Yeehaw! Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, what does your American accent sound like? I feel like you guys have siphoned British accents out of me several times.
No, you
now
don't
at
do
this
British
point.
accent. You're just like, can't blame me.
I learned from
Me
Tracer.
old
You know what I
bugger.
mean? I learned from Tracer. That's where I got it.
That's
from.
why Tracer is the worst character in Overwatch.
You know? Hey, oi, Ryan! You know? How was that?
Once Epi gets to that point in the game, I'll rewatch that VOD.
Ryan toy.
Yeah,
Like, what do you guys sound like? If you were trying to be like,
We've had this discussion that like
your American accent?
it's either like quote unquote Texan or Southern Belle.
Yeah. It's
have-
not like your kind of accent. It's like
Yeah.
trying to be a cowboy kind of accent.
I think that's what I think that's why I asked the gang. Like, I want to hear that so bad. I want to hear like your Pennsylvanian, which might not be easy to do. Was that
No,
an
your
attempt?
accent sounds quite neutral, to be honest. It's not like super American, if you know what I mean.
I'm just chilling. It's just chilling.
There's just like the odd words here and there. Spinel.
Spaniel.
Spinal. You're kicking around.
Oh god, I just can't get comfortable anymore.
It's old age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not comfortable with? All these E3 replacement shows. Welcome to the Permadeath podcast, everybody. Episode 47. I, of course, am Bill Conway, joined as always by the other two pieces of the Permadeath puzzle, Abby and Kinross. How are y'all doing?
I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched the PC Gaming show last night, and it drained my soul.
It continues to be a marathon.
It's long.
Yeah, I think
It's long.
I think my relationship with the PC Gaming show might have come to an end last night. I think we're gonna break up. I don't think.
I think if
watch
it was
again.
I think if it was an hour long,
Yeah.
I think it would be fine. Because there are things in it that I like. Like, okay, this is like some old G4 TV Adam Sessler X-Play skit, funny, but it's not funny. But it's like, okay, this is like old gamer humor, that like I could get down with having on in the background. But then when it's old gamer humor for like 2 hours and 20 minutes, it's like, okay, I just kind of want to look at the games. And there were some neat games, but like, and I do like, I always forget his name. Day9 is his handle. The host, I think, is charismatic enough that, it keeps coming back. But, I mean, I feel like you can kind of put the PC Gaming show on the same template every year of, like, you're going to hear about, like, Killing Floor 2 every year for some reason.
Yeah,
We
that
didn't hear
and the
about
shot
Warframe
game.
this year.
Warframe, Kenner, that you said? Yeah, wow.
We didn't have that this year.
Wow.
I think the thing with the PC Gaming show in particular is that a lot of the times they'll announce a game by some pre-ramble, then they'll show the trailer, and then they'll have like a 5-minute interview with a dev for a game I don't care about. And it's like, just say, check out our YouTube channel for an interview with a dev to get some more information about this game if you want to play it,
Right. It's long-winded. It's like they want to give devs their time, but also it's like in the interest of a show that thousands of people are watching, and especially in a year where there's 8,000 different E3 replacements, people's time is split and divided on all these different areas. They don't know where to go, and the ones that are there, it's like, I just want to get my E3 fix, man. And it's like, but I kind of don't want to hear this guy talk about Killing Floor 2 anymore. The game's like 7 years old. I'm good with the Killing Floor 2 updates.
But it's also one of those things where, in a way, like, some of it feels somewhat disrespectful in that because they give the preamble explaining everything about the game before the trailer, it's like, we don't think that this trailer adequately explains what this game is to you, so we have to explain it all to you, spoil anything about it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, you've told me it's going to be a spooky horror game about, like, psychological thrillers or whatever. oh look, it's a spooky mind game trailer. I would never have gotten that. Thank you, Frankie, for telling me to be spooked.
Get ready.
It could have some fat trimmed, for sure. But I feel like they'll never do that because I feel like that's one of the criticisms of the PC Gaming Show every year is that that could have been a little shorter, and it never gets shorter.
It's just one of those things. I watch it and I'm like, do I like games or do I just pretend to like games? Am I just fooling myself at this point? Because none of this stuff like super interests me. But then it'll have like a string of like 2 or 3 games that I'm like, oh, that looked neat, and then it'll go back to like, here in this game you go back to ancient Rome and you're gonna do some RTS stuff.
The PC show especially is like weird in that it really tries to corner that niche of like, here are games that probably will never get any announcement at any other conference, even if they're on console, because they are so PC centric, into like Total War and Civ and all those Paradox games and like Crusader Kings and all those weird like different city builders and like games that probably might not even be good, but it's like you can play with a keyboard and mouse way better than you can play with a controller. Throw it on the show, even if it's not interesting.
I do think that there is an element of like it. Obviously, it's long, but you end up feeling that way because it is so long between A, games you're interested in, and B, each game. If it was just trailer, you wouldn't get necessarily bored. You'd be exhausted because it's a lot to take in. But you wouldn't be like, oh man, I've been sat here for 25 minutes and they've not even talked about anything I'm remotely interested in. When you could have had 15 trailers in that time.
Yeah, I still kind of think though, I prefer the format that like PS4 had it one year, where it was just like there was some preamble at the beginning and then it was just like 50 minutes of trailers and then some dude came on at the end and went, well, that's what we've got. And it was like way more enjoyable to me than 2.5 hours of the PC Gaming Show.
Yeah.
By miles.
Like if your purpose is to kind of reveal games or show off games, like, and I think the same could be said about the PS5 event this year, is like they had some devs kind of cut in sometimes on the PS5 event, but for the most part, for the hour and some change, you were always kind of watching something video game, trailer, gameplay, whatever, fake gameplay, it doesn't matter. It was always something that wasn't just a guy on Zoom talking to another guy on Zoom, which I understand, they can't help this year, but like at the same time, it's like, well, maybe just don't do it at all. And it's interesting sometimes to hear from developers, but I kind of sometimes don't want to, unless it's on a press conference stage and they could potentially fuck something up. I kind of don't want to hear you talk ever at a gaming event for longer than 2 minutes.
I would say like 30 to 60 seconds. That's how
True.
long
You know what? In practice,
if it's like a recorded thing, 30 to 60 seconds.
Yeah. In practice, 2 minutes is probably longer than I think it is in my head. So like, yeah, that sounds better.
Like on a stage, yeah, because things get paced differently, and there's you can give them a bit more time. But if they are sat recorded, 30 to 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's why next year we're hosting our own gaming show.
We might as well, because so we had the PS5 event this year. We had a Microsoft thing a month or 2 months ago. I don't remember. Everything's kind of spaced out. It's a weird year, obviously, with everything going on, but also it's a new generation. And Sony's been weird for 3 years now with E3, and like, we're not going to show anything. We got 2 games. This year we're going to put 3 games in a hub dome, and you're going to come in here and we're going to pretend we're at church. And then like 1 year they skip, and another year they're back. So things have been kind of weird for a little while now, but we've always had E3 to kind of focus everything. We've always had a week where there was an Ubisoft event, an EA event, the Devolver thing, Bethesda's there, Microsoft's got a thing, Nintendo's got a Direct. And all that stuff is centralized across 3 or 4 days, and it's like, boom, everything is scheduled out for me. I know when everything is. All the big names are there. There's like maybe one indie game showcase from Kind of Funny or whatever, and I'm good. And now it's just we could talk about it, and then we could move on and watch people's floor impressions or whatever it is that everyone else watches after the conferences are over. This year, though, E3 isn't here. E3, I thought they said we're gonna do some digital stuff this year, but that never happened. They kind of just were like, fuck it, fuck it. We're good.
Why would we when we could just not?
Yeah. And that led everyone else to kind of be like, oh man, we could do our own, dude. It's like people sitting at home watching like listening to a podcast and being like, we could do our own. And that's why we have 8 million of those. But it doesn't really work. It works for podcasts. It doesn't work for E3 presentations where I didn't even know there. Did you guys know there was one called The Future of Games? But
nope.
But the PlayStation one was called The Future of Gaming.
After? Was the Future of Games the one that was after PC Gaming?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that one existed only because I saw one tweet by Ant saying, "Hey, this game looks cool." #Future of Gaming or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I guess there's another thing going on, or that's the alternate name for PC Gaming Show."
So,
all right.
So in an effort to give people the E3 vibes, instead of like all the people in the gaming press, in the gaming industry coming together and being like, let's do this thing, instead of like Jeff Keighley pulling his weight, he has his own thing, but instead of Jeff Keighley like taking the mantle and be like, okay, let me do it, let me host all of you guys, we have instead, I don't know, I'm going to read a bunch of names off here. I don't know what half them are. Wholesome Direct, Indie Live Expo, IGN Expo, The Escapist Indie Showcase, The Future of Gaming on PlayStation 5. Now, there's multiple days of IGN Expo. Guerrilla Collective, PC Gaming Show, Future Game Show, Guerrilla Collective Day 2, Guerrilla Collective Day 3, Upload VR Showcase. Then we have EA Play. We have the Summer Game Fest Developer Showcase. That's Jeff Keighley. The New Game Plus Expo. More days of IGN Expo. Ubisoft Forward. And then Other. So...
And then a couple of game-specific streams, like Baldur's Gate's got one, Cyberpunk's got one, and something else does. Can't remember what. Marvel Avengers.
What bums me out about it is I feel like there's going to be neat stuff at every one of these, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination where, like we saw, the New Blood games like 16 times across 2 different shows. I assume we're going to see a bunch of that. We're going to see probably like Resident Evil 8 at an Xbox thing or something. We're going to see something else at another thing. But I can't help but feel like there's no way for me to focus on these things the way we used to be able to, and I feel like I'm going to miss things, and I'm going to be like, oh, what the hell was that? Oh, that was at the like Fart Boys Expo presentation that was on Saturday night. You didn't know about that? It's like, no, I didn't, because like every like Dick and Mary out there is doing a damn E3 presentation. I can't keep track of all these damn things.
Here's the thing that I'm thinking because of all of this is we've had discussions for years now about, do we really need E3 anymore?
Apparently
we do.
Yeah.
I really do think so.
Even if it's not like we need E3 in the sense of a convention center with
but we clearly
10,000
do
people.
because
I think
no. We clearly do because the thing is, when that doesn't happen, this year happens where it's just fucking conference after conference that you don't know about because it's not been put out there, and people are just like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do one if no one else is doing one, but everyone else is already doing one. So
I mean, in the sense of if they were to say, okay, we're no longer having a building for it, we will host everything online digital.
Yeah, but the thing is, they said that they were going to do that, and then they didn't do it. So.
Well, that's E3's fault. But that we do need something.
There needs to be a unified brand week that brings this stuff together in a way that is healthier to keep track of, because this is usually my favorite week to watch games coverage because, and you'll get the people, oh, you just like commercials, huh? You just really like... No, I just really like looking at new video games. And I like having all that stuff centralized in a way that makes sense. And the naming conventions make sense. Like, what the hell is the Future Game Show? I'm sure if I looked at it and saw who put it on, maybe I would be like, oh, that's what that would have been if it was E3. But it's like, I just don't know... like who any of these people are, and like you said, you're seeing tweets hashtag with stuff. It's like, oh, this game's cool, hashtag Future Game Show, and it's like, what the hell is that? Like, what is that? I just want to know what's going on.
Greg Miller even made a joke in the PC Gaming show where he sort of got his bit in, and he was like, "How many of you were here at the Guerrilla Collective?" I guess none of you. Okay, bye. It's like, well, yeah, because no one knew it was there.
Yeah,
but that was a pre-recorded bit.
I didn't know what the Guerrilla Collective was until I saw a tweet, and then I saw Easy Allies was reacting to something, and I clicked it, and it was the Guerrilla Collective, and I'm like, what the hell is the Guerrilla Collective? Oh, it's the kind of funny showcase that they've ran the last 2 years.
Something else.
And then combined with another company, and that's the same thing. There's a lot of indies. The thing is, the shitty part is there's a lot of cool stuff at it, and like I just didn't know about it, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I don't know. I didn't really read too much on like how did other people discover it, or what was the exposure rate of it. But I'm watching it. I'm like, man, there's like some neat looking indies on here that like interest me, that look really good, and unfortunately, I feel like this oversaturation of trying to be the one who saves E3 or something is just you should have just let Keighley do it. It's just someone got in contact with Jeff Keighley and let him do it. Like and I thought he was with his Summer Games thing, but he's kind of just been chilling, like showing up every now and then. Hey, it's me, Keighley. Goodbye. And it's like, Keighley, where are you going?
I wish his Summer Game Fest thing was just like one event that happened that did a bunch of announcements rather than like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
Once every 2 weeks, because it's just a bit too much for me to keep up with, I guess, when I've got other stuff I could be doing.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach that I feel like, I guess arguments can be made of like, oh, now you have enough time to stew on that announcement, but it's like, okay, well, we've had Tony Hawk in Unreal 5, and now it's like, well, I'm waiting for the next one, Jeff. Where you at, buddy? We're all waiting here. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year, because that's the other thing is these brands get established. Like, okay, the Guerrilla Collective showcase, the Future Games showcase. Like, does that stuff exist next year? If E3 still happens, if E3 happens again, like, what is the plan for all these companies going forward? So it'll be interesting to see how we all have, what we have to react to next year as podcasters.
Yeah, I'm done with the PC Gaming show, though. I think that ship has sailed. Like, I've watched it every year since it was a thing, and I don't know why I'm doing it, because I never enjoy it.
Future game show, for what it's worth, is Games Radar.
The hell?
Yeah.
It's just like every outlet has something now, and I don't
Where's the
like
Kotaku one?
Yeah.
Which one's Kotaku? Is that what Wholesome Direct is? Let's have a look.
The day Easy Allies does one is the day that excites me. I don't know anybody from Games Radar. Who the heck? I don't like. VentureBeat gonna have one? Is U.S. Game News gonna have one? Permadeath should do one. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
We'll have ours from that Hooters across the way. Remember?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, next year, guys. Look forward to it. Permadeath, Future of Games from Permadeath Podcast Showcase 2021. If you got any games to submit, let us know. We're willing to go 5 minutes to an hour. It's okay. The show that wasn't an ultimate waste of time, though. Thursday.
The other ones were. But...
Thursday, we had it was Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, we had the PlayStation 5 reveal. Finally. Sony's very long build-up to revealing the PlayStation 5 over the last few months. Very strange way to slowly reveal up to it. Revealing the specs first in a Wired article, and then, everything, circumstantial, that happened after that with everything that got canceled and moved around for GDC and all that stuff. But we finally got to see the box. We finally got to see some games. We finally got to see some sequels get announced, obvious things, Horizon and stuff like that. We finally got to look at the box, which I'm
excited about Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, so let's talk about the show. So,
oh my god, what an opener!
When it came up with Rockstar, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do something new, and I was really excited. And then I was like, is this just GTA 5 again? I think this is just GTA 5 again.
I'm a big Sony fan, and like when like the event was about to start, I'm like I always get a little nervous because I'm like, man, what if it just sucks? Like, what if it's like E3 2018 or whatever, and it's just like kind of stinky, and it's like, man, I look to you guys to like pop some big trailers on me, you know. I like a lot of your IP. Just give me some good stuff. When that Rockstar logo came on, it was an initial burst of like, holy shit! Like, Rockstar? Like, what? And then it was just Michael's voice from GTA 5, and it's like, oh, shit. No, not the right oh shit you want out of anybody here.
No.
I mean, I said it in the chat. If they had done something like fancy with effectively a remaster of lighting and
But the thing is, they already
that,
did that for GTA 5 when they ported it from the PS3 to the PS4.
Yeah.
And they are doing that. They are enhancing it, but it's so weird to me that they didn't show any progress on that. They didn't show any work. They literally... Because here's what I thought it was going to be. I'm like, okay, GTA 5, okay. Obviously, this is coming to PS5. And then, like, in the top left corner was the logo for the PS4. And I'm like, okay, this is PS4 footage. It's gonna swipe or wipe or do whatever they do, and it's going to swap to PS5 footage. And then it never did, and then they're just giving you free money on GTA Online. And it's like, what the hell? That could have been a commercial in the preamble leading up to the conference, and then you open with Spider-Man, not Grand Theft Auto 5.
It's weird, man.
It was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there like, no, Sony, what are you doing? This is
it
not...
didn't set a good
the
precedent
for
the rest of the event at all.
No, his Skyrim.
GTA 5 is the new Skyrim.
Yeah.
I think Skyrim's the new Skyrim.
But no one takes the piss out of GTA 5. Because it's not funny, because it's not on Alexa.
Sort of. Well, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But yeah, so the real opening of the show was Spider-Man, which was exciting. But also confusing. You know, the ongoing conversation around that has been, is it a sequel, is it an expansion, is it a standalone, is it a DLC, is it an add-on to a remaster?
From what I've heard from the team, it's a standalone expansion type thing.
Yeah.
It's not Spider-Man 2. It is, here is an extension of the DLC, but in its own, like, fully fledged.
It's Lost Legacy. Uncharted Lost Legacy, basically. Infamous First Light, you know, something in that vein. So we'll see how big that is in terms of a game. You know, if it's much shorter than Spider-Man, you know, if it's a $60 game, if it's a $40 game, if it's a launch title, who knows. But so what do you guys think of the show overall? Like in terms of things that stood out and, like, you know, pacing of it and everything, like how are you guys entertained?
The thing that excited me the most was Project Athia, which is the new Square Enix game from Luminous Productions, who were the studio behind Final Fantasy 15.
Mr. Tamara.
Unfortunately, he's definitely not working on it, but I don't know. I thought it looked really cool. I'm excited to see what Square Enix in particular do with the PS5, because their games always look pretty visually amazing.
Yeah. You know, seeing that, like, trailer, you know, well, I mean, depending on what that was necessarily in engine, I don't remember really if it said anything about where that footage came from. But regardless, their games do always look incredible, and, like, seeing what they did with, like, 7 Remake on the PS4, like, thinking about 7 Remake 2 on PS5, after seeing stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah. But there's actually a lot of really cool writers on Project Athia, which I didn't know about. From all over the like, a wide gamut of them, led by Gary Whitta, who some people might know nowadays for doing Animal Talking, the Animal Crossing late night talk show, which has gained a lot of traction with a lot of celebrities on it, which has been really weird. But I guess it's not too weird. He's a Hollywood writer. But and he has a field correspondent in there who is Danny Trejo. And it's the weirdest project that's ever come together. But and he wrote Rogue One and Book of Eli. And he's leading the writing team for this. And that surprised me, because that wasn't anywhere in the trailer. I just saw it on Twitter. And I'm like, wow, Square. Getting some cool names together to write this world.
It's listed as just dev footage, PS5 dev footage.
Cool.
So I guess it is technically maybe in engine, but not representative of anything.
I'm excited for it anyway. I think with everything I've been playing over recent years, if Square Enix announce something, I'm going to pay attention.
Yeah, especially when it's a new IP too. Like, I actually think Square Enix has kind of been on a decent streak. I know some people have like bones to pick with them, and for good reason. Sometimes they're weird, and some of the stuff they publish as a publisher, sometimes they're weird, especially.
Yeah.
But generally,
what was that name? What was that game? Silent Man.
Oh God, yeah.
Was that Squeenix?
Yeah, that was Square Enix.
Oh God,
is that what it was called? The Quiet Man.
Quiet Man, yeah.
Quiet Man.
I forgot about that fucking game. Oh man, why didn't we get a Quiet Man 2 announcement? What's going on?
I think that there's a very good reason that we did not get a Quiet Man 2 announcement.
The world is ready, dude, for a good Quiet Man sequel. Let's go.
You gotta have a good Quiet Man prequel first.
We need a redemption story. One of us should stream a Quiet Man. But yeah, generally I think their first party stuff I actually think has been pretty solid. And so like, you know, and it's nice to see them kind of coming out and nailing it, you know, especially in the Final Fantasy space too, where it's like, oh, maybe, you know, people can start putting a little faith in them again, in terms of like, you know, you see the name Square and it's like, this is going to be good. You know, because I feel like they've lost some people over the years. For, you know, sometimes though for stupid reasons. Because I honestly think they've been okay for like ever. But
considering it wasn't that long ago that they were like hemorrhaging money, I think they're doing pretty good. Because there was one point where they lost like, what was it, 100 billion yen in a year. It was a lot of money. I think it was the year that Final Fantasy 14 1.0 came out. They lost so much money.
Nowadays, their earnings 14 makes them mega bank.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a real redemption story for Square. Maybe not for the Quiet Man, but, you know.
That game probably sold 50 copies. That's enough.
Made its money back, maybe.
Again, Ross, did you have like a super standout, like Project Athia?
Honestly, Astro's Playroom.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
like,
what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, the way that I go into Sony things is that typically I'm not really looking for anything because I don't have massive attachments to a lot of their stuff or anything that is typically a PlayStation, not necessarily exclusive, but like more prominent on it.
Right.
So, there was a lot more like things I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. I might look into that at some point than normal. Like Little Devil Inside looked good too.
Yeah, really did.
I didn't know basically all the little quirky ones. I'm like, yeah, I'm into that.
That's one thing about the show I think I could, you know, say confidently is there was a good amount of quirky stuff.
Goodbye Volcano High.
That's a bit too quirky.
Like when they just,
God knows what that is.
In like the beginning minutes of their show, you know, they dropped the Spider-Man, they dropped the Gran Turismo, but like they're like heavily showcasing like a Ratchet and Clank game to show off the power of their system, like a 3D platformer that, like, you know, everyone kind of presumes that genre dead unless you're Nintendo. It was nice to see them be like, look at this shit, 3D platformer, fucker. And it was like, wow, that sets a tone a little bit. And then we got like Sackboy, we get Kena, which was really colorful.
Yeah. That I'm excited for as well, actually. You know, I don't know what it's going to play like, but I'm excited.
Death Stranding.
Oh, streaming. Oh, yeah, because we were making the joke that it was like the next Strand game.
Yeah.
Where you're a cat that delivers stuff.
Oh, yeah, Stray.
Yeah.
That's a good-looking cat. Gotta say.
That's a PS5 cat. That's a next-generation cat.
Estimated Game of the Year, though, for Bugsnax.
That trailer was hilarious to me. And, like, sometimes game humor doesn't hit. Sometimes games just try to be funny, and they ain't funny. I thought Bugsnax was hilarious. Anytime you have a song to where if you're not really listening to it closely, you might not realize that the lyrics are just, like, written for the game or, like, totally for the show or the movie or whatever it is you're watching. Man, that was cracking me up. It was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, in a good way.
We actually watched the thing with Cam and Emily, and Cam pointed out that it sounded like they were saying "fuck snacks," so like in the song. So it's just that's what the song is now.
I hope it plays throughout the entire game, so that's all you hear throughout it now.
I mean, I was in because it focused on a strawberry, and Cam was like, "Do we get to play as a strawberry?" And then suddenly the strawberry grew eyes, and we're like, "What?" And then it starts walking along, saying "strawberry, strawberry, strawberry, doodly doodly doo," and then gets eaten. I was like, "I'm in."
Yeah, I mean, Octodad,
they're like Pokemon, and they say their name.
Was pretty funny, so I have faith in this.
Yeah, Octodad was good.
I'm curious as to what your standout would be, Bill, because I feel like towards the end it was very Bill-centric.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. That's why I like Sony conferences. And this is why I also love Directs, too. Like, the two events I love the most, always, especially now in the Switch era, are Directs and Sony's conferences. Because typically there's always something in there that I'm just, like, hyped for, excited for, more so than other shows. But yeah, no, a lot of points in here are very Bill-centric. But my standout, probably Resident Evil 8. And I love the way, it's nowadays it's obvious, when it's like, okay, this is obviously Resident Evil 8, but they still reveal it as if you don't know it's Resident Evil 8 with like they did with 7, where they just show the 7 and then it's like, whoa, what the hell? Because at the time Resident Evil 7 was so different from any Resident Evil game, so to reveal it was Resident Evil was like, whoa. But I mean, if you've played Resident Evil 7, you know Ethan's voice, you kind of get the vibes, you know the RE engine, you know the way it looks. So like you're watching it going, okay, this is obviously Resident Evil 8, but still that like title drop is still awesome, and I love it every time because my dad doesn't pick up on any of that stuff. So like I just 2 Resident Evil trailers now. Resident Evil 7 trailer, when I showed that to my dad the first time, I refused to tell him what it was. I was like, let's watch the trailer for this horror game. And when the logo dropped, that man flipped out. I wish I was filming him. But because like we haven't had a good Resident Evil game, since 4. 5 was okay, but literally the GameCube. So getting to show him this one again, this is why it's my standout probably, because again, he doesn't pick up on this stuff. Not that my dad's dumb. Hey, Dad, if you listen to this podcast, you're not dumb, okay? You know what I mean? You might walk into pendulums, but you're fine. Getting to see his reaction. Do
you reckon by a certain point he'll be like, "Oh, you're showing me a trailer for a scary game. I wonder what it's going to be."
Yeah, he'll never pick up on it. That's the thing. He just doesn't. That's why I put it on again, and I'm like, "Hey, take this trailer, PS5 reveal. This horror game was out." Because at this time, rumors were swirling of Silent Hill and all that stuff. So like,
I guess yeah.
Lots of things weren't clear. And he's watching it, and he didn't even pick up on the fact that there's an Umbrella logo in the trailer, too, on one of the statues. Like, front and center. They just say Resident Evil, basically, with the Umbrella logo. But I showed it to him again, and it comes up, and he goes, Village. And then it turns into an 8, and he goes, oh, my God. And it's like, yes, perfect. This is why I'm glad they keep doing these trailers, because my dad doesn't know.
I mean, the title doesn't make sense, but I'll commend them for finding a way to fit a Roman 8
in a village.
into a title.
It takes place in a village, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's not called Resident Evil House.
No,
Bill, you would have been proud of me for how quickly I recognized that to be a Resident Evil game, considering my knowledge of Resident Evil is your streams.
Hell yeah! It's exciting what Capcom is doing with Resident Evil, and it's exciting that they're still kind of pushing into that direction. Even after doing 2 and 3 as third-person games, it excites me to see that this is. I mean, this was rumored. Village was kind of leaked beforehand. And that Chris Redfield's the villain and all that stuff. That was all leaked beforehand. But it was nice to see it confirmed, and it was nice to see it in action because that setting looks fucking dope. Some like gothic horror vibes in Resident Evil that we've never had before. I mean, if you can maybe count 4 a little bit with some castle shit. But this takes it a step further, and we got like witches and werewolves, and yeah, it looks cool. That's
so
probably my biggest standout.
Are you getting Village before you get 4 remake, or?
Yeah.
Does Village have a date?
2021. Next year, yeah. Probably January. They've been releasing them in, 7 came out in January, 2 came out in January, 3 came out in April. So probably in that window. So Capcom has just been churning games out like nobody's business. So but the thing I'm most curious about is if this has VR support. It's a PS5 game, obviously. PSVR works on PS5, confirmed from Sony. Does this include VR support like 7, or they just kind of ditch that altogether? Because I think that was an amazing thing in 7. So I'm curious where they go.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, has VR support, but is that just for PS4 back compat?
True. That's the thing, yeah. Oh, yeah, it all depends. Like, maybe it works if you develop the game. Because, I mean, it's going to have to work yeah. See, I don't know. Yeah, because Dreams is going to be backwards compat. So, and that's going to be VR support. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like we're going to see more announcements on VR related stuff in the coming months before the console comes out on what their plans are exactly for the current headset and going forward. So we'll see what happens with Resident Evil until then. They might have just ditched it altogether, to be honest with you. It might not be worth the work for one system to have VR. Because they never put VR support on the PC version of Resident Evil 7, which is mind-blowing to me. But, yeah. Yeah, lots of other things I loved, but that was my big, like, yes, Capcom's here.
Horizon did make me want to go back and replay Horizon and also the DLC.
Horizon was close to my
because I never played the DLC.
Me neither, Kenros. I don't play DLC. That's my curse.
I'm hoping that I'm far enough away from original playthrough of Horizon where I'm not like super salty about the difficulty wall that I hit, or that I'm not so close to Breath of the Wild that I'm like, why can't I climb this wall every single time that I approach a wall?
Right.
Yeah, because you did play it directly after Breath of the Wild, which is just like, go anywhere, do anything you want to.
And that was very much, you have to go to this very specific spot to be able to climb across here. I'm like, why? I could just, it's literally half my extra height. Let me jump. Let me climb.
Yeah, I was surprisingly excited when I figured out that this was a Horizon trailer. Because I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. And then they said the old ones, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a Horizon thing. And then you saw Aloy, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
There were a couple of trailers of, like, in the call being like, this looks like it might be this, but it can't possibly. And then suddenly it's like, oh, this definitely is.
Yeah,
like,
when it was NBA 2K21, I was like, holy shit, dude, that's a basketball player? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh
No.
my god.
Yeah, I think
Demon Souls was the other big one. It was like, hey, it's a guy in armor. It's probably like a Souls game or something. oh, it is.
The very first note of the music, you know it's a From game in every trailer. Whenever you hear, ha, he, ha, and then you just hear like, boo, boo. Oh, this is From Software game, ain't it? Yeah.
The thing is, in the call, we were like trying to hype up each other about stuff that it definitely wasn't, because they were like, oh man, what if this is like the Elder Scrolls 6? Like, what if it looks this good?
What game were they showing? And we were like, is this was that Athia? That we were like, this looks like the original tease for Elder Scrolls 6.
No, it was Demon Souls.
Was it Demon Souls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then some dude in armor turned up, and I'm like, nah, this has got to be some Dark Souls shit.
To touch back on the Horizon trailer, I was really happy with the amount of biomes in that trailer. Nice variety. I mean, like, Horizon kind of had its one landscape, and then it added the Frozen stuff in the DLC, which I still haven't checked out yet, admittedly.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if the DLC was important, but I guess you don't know, so.
And I hear it's good. It's just going back to a completed game months after to play its DLC. I just never do it because I'm just caught up in so many other things.
Hey Bill, have you played Final Fantasy 15?
Final Fantasy 15 unfortunately falls into that category. You know, my game of the year, Control, released a fucking expansion. I still haven't played it, so it's like I just don't do it ever.
Maybe you should wait for like the complete edition of a game.
I think I should because the DLC is good for these games. I just never go back. You know, I move on. I uninstall and I never re-download it. So yeah, there was underwater stuff in this trailer. Like,
yeah, that's new, right?
Yeah, lots of neat stuff and lots of neat implications too. You know, with the story and just where we are going, like across multiple states potentially. Like it has to be, or just different seasons maybe. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I mean, the original game looked incredible on a PS4, base or Pro, it doesn't matter. So seeing a Sony first party kind of designed to the metal and take advantage of his SSD is exciting to me, in Horizon's case especially, because those guys are like wizards. So I can't wait to see that game in action. We might have already. I mean, that might have been gameplay. I don't really know. It's hard to tell sometimes with no UI. But yeah. And Demon Souls is cool. You know, I don't really have much experience with Demon Souls, and I kind of bounce off Dark Souls every time I play it, so I'm kind of just a Bloodborne guy. So, but I'll probably check it out.
It's alright though, because at the end of the PC Gaming show after the credits, they are remaking Bloodborne, I think the website is Thieves with Guns or something.
Oh yeah, it looks amazing. 60 FPS. Yeah. It's right. Yeah. I saw the hunter's rifle. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the textures weren't loading though, so it was kind of weird looking.
No, I think that's an improvement over Bloodborne, right?
Yeah, like you wanted it at 60 FPS, and that's how they did it.
Compromises had to be made.
Yeah. It's technically in 4K. The textures aren't.
Yeah.
But the polygons are.
We saw some stuff in this show that was announced prior that we saw kind of gameplay and got more looks into. Specifically for me, the thing that I was like, whoa, what the hell? That's first person, was that Ghostwire Tokyo game. That was announced at E3 with the spooky, what was her name? Ikumi Nakamura.
Yeah.
She's no longer working on the game, which is unfortunate. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, we got to see gameplay.
I assume
of that.
she probably got like some amazing job offer that we still don't know about.
Yeah, she after
she
left.
I'm hoping it's that, and that it's not like horrific harassment.
Same, yeah. That's always the worry, right? It's like, wow, why'd she leave? You know what I mean? She was the director on that game, like the top dog role on a big new IP from Tango and Bethesda. The other game from Bethesda that looked really interesting, now that we've got further emphasis on it, was Deathloop. I thought that looked pretty cool. That
I don't
Assassin's
get it
game,
though. Is like,
I think it's also
the rival character played by the AI, or is that another
both.
player?
It could be both, I think. I looked into it a little further. I think it could be both, which could make for interesting streams potentially, depending on how the game is structured. Anyway, you know what I mean?
Literal sniping.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it maybe wouldn't be a good stream. I see you.
What else was there? Little Devil Inside I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Godfall got some gameplay.
Yeah, we saw more of that too at the PC show as well.
PC.
Yeah, we should.
And I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Here's the thing about Godfall for me is that, like, I'm always, hey, look, you got loot in your game, you got co-op in your game. You always kind of got my attention in a way, in some way. I'm gonna look at it, and I believe it's gonna be a free-to-play game as well. So, like, you've got me a little bit there, but it looks nice. It looks shiny, but it also just looks like a game that's probably gonna suck. And because all these games come out and they suck. All these loot games just suck. And, like, nobody could, like, get an audience the way Destiny can because it's already ingrained in Destiny or Warframe or Monster Hunter. But, like, all these games come out and it's like, okay, this game's great. This game's really cool. And then a month passes and it's like the end game of Godfall is problematic. And there's no content. There's nothing to do. And it happens with every one of those games. So until that game comes out and it owns and there's a lot of stuff to do and it's not monetized out its butthole, then I'll get excited about it. For now, it's like, it looks pretty. It looks really shiny. It might look too shiny, but okay. All right. You know, the one thing, though, that I guess I can get excited about is that it's a melee loot game. We don't really get those too often anymore. A lot of schlooters, if you will. Too many, a lot of those since Borderlands. Not a lot of Soulsy, heavy, use a fucking Warhammer, bash a guy, get some loot type of games out there. So maybe it could fill that niche. I don't know.
Was it this one, or was there another one at the PC Gaming show where they called it a slasher looter?
That might have been Godfall.
It is Godfall, yeah.
Was it Godfall? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with games being shown twice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if this is a new game. Unless it's a new Blood game, in which case I could definitely tell.
They all look like old Quake.
They're all the set. Like halfway, by the end of like that sizzle reel on the PC Gaming show, and they showed 5 titles. I was like, I thought that there were only 2 games because they look so samey.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's 5 games. Oh, okay. Don't like to insult devs or anything. It's real hard work, but those A, don't look good, and B, look kind of asset flippy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Godfall kind of fits that description.
Paul in Ebby's chat was saying, man, this looks like Steam Greenlight is back again. Yeah, it does.
I think that's what I was trying to nail down when talking about Godfall, is like the way it looks really nice and shiny, but something about it looks like it'll fail for various reasons. One, the end game will probably suck, and two, it just looks like some kind of like free game that is like too good to be true, that's coming out from like 3 guys or something, but it's being published by Gearbox, and it's like, but it just oozes this vibe of like, this is probably gonna be cheap. Like I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe, I'd love to be wrong.
I think that's a consequence of things like Raid,
right?
Where it's technically fairly premium,
right,
assets, but it is a cheap game, and because like the mobile market has gone that way, and you're like, man, this looks like it could be in a Raid CG trailer. You're like, okay.
Raid.
I don't know.
I didn't even think about that one too. Yeah, you guys are putting in the words better what I felt about the visuals and why I think that game will probably suck. But again, I'd love to be wrong on stuff like that. But
for sure.
Yeah, the one game that I'm actually super hyped on. I'm not sure if anyone else is hyped on it at all. But it's mostly because I really love Housemarque. I really loved Resogun. I really love Nex Machina. I love a good twin stick shooter when it's from them. They just nail that shit. Nex Machina especially. I think that game is incredible. Was Returnal the next game from them?
Yeah, I couldn't work out. I'm looking at the screenshot of it. I couldn't work out what that game was.
That's like a woman stuck in like an Edge of Tomorrow type situation, it seems, where she's reliving the same day over and over again. But the gameplay they showed, like at first when Housemarque's name came up, I'm like, they don't usually make games like this. They're usually always arcade shooters, like always, twin stick,
I think I described this as Dark Souls with guns.
And then they showed the gameplay, and like it's showing like bullet helly stuff flying through the air like they're normal games, like a Resogun or a Nex Machina, but down boots on the ground kind of. Well, their boots are always on the ground in Nex Machina, but like that camera angle. And I'm like, damn, are they gonna make like a third person action game, but with the twin stick action of their typical Resogun, typical Nex Machina type stuff? And it seems like they are from the information that I've been able to gather, and it's like that has me really excited.
Now I just quickly skimmed through the trailer, and it reminds me of a game from the PC Gaming Show that I'm very interested in, and I'm just trying to double check the name. And that is Metal Hellsinger.
Oh, that game looks sick.
The rhythm FPS.
Yes, that's one of the games on the PC Gaming Show that was like, wowza. Yeah, that game looks incredible.
Yeah. I don't understand how that's not been made before, to be honest.
Yeah. There was a beta trailer at the Guerrilla Collective.
Oh, wait, that's where I saw it, at the Guerrilla Collective show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because the PC Gaming Show was literally just like a boss fight. I was like, oh, they've clearly like railroaded this or whatever, whereas the Guerrilla Collective trailer is like actually walking through the world and playing the game and things like that. I was like, okay, that's
timing-based cool, shooting, like that is some Necrodancer type like level of ingenious there. That is exciting to me. That's like when I watch these shows, and that's why I get bummed out that there's so many, because I'm missing things clearly, and I'm probably missing a lot more than I think I am. Is that like there's indies are always doing cool shit, and stuff like that just slips through the cracks, and like that's something that I'm extremely interested in, because I love just marrying rhythm with anything. And I'm glad you brought that back up, Kinross, because as excited as I was about it, I forgot about it.
I'm gonna have to find a way to keep track of it, because that is, if that game is as fun as it looks, that is a genre I want more of.
Yeah.
And there will not be more of it.
Nope.
if this fails. So
there might not be more anyway. But no, I mean, you know what? We've seen the application, of it into a roguelite with Crypt, and now with this. So, I feel like the world just loves rhythm games, but nobody makes them. And then it's like, we know what? No one's buying them, so fuck it.
Do you think it's
shooter?
Do you think it's burnout from the plastic?
I wonder if it still exists. Yeah.
Apocalypse of Rock Band.
Because I know those games came back and failed spectacularly. So, yeah, could be. Still, it's just people had they ate so much Rock Band and Guitar Hero. They just literally on a decade-long purge of just, I don't want to eat that ever again.
It'll come back one day and be really successful, because everyone will be like, oh, how nostalgic.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they tried to bring those games back too soon. They tried to bring it back like that. Like, look, remember this shit? It's like that. That was like 2 years ago. What are you guys doing? No one missing it yet.
I think the other problem was if you were, getting into Rock Band, you had to have a place to store all of the peripherals.
Yeah.
And if you get like 2 guitars, a microphone, and a drum kit, it's like, well, that's a whole closet taken up.
Rock Band 3, you have the guitar as well.
Yeah, and they had a lot of spin-offs like DJ Hero, like...
Yep.
Yeah, they really tried digging deep there.
They just need a fucking karaoke game and everyone will be happy. Just make a karaoke game.
Oh, yeah. It's like a really good karaoke game. Like, I mean, I guess SingStar was like Sony's attempt at that, but at the same time, it's like free and you gotta like pay for every song. Like, just release a big old karaoke game with some sick-ass slick interface and...
There was Lips as well.
Oh, yeah.
biggest problem with Lips was getting the microphone to actually work.
And some of them are weird, too, where it's like, oh, SingStar, you can use your phone to sing into it. But it's like, that's not fun.
Yeah, you want to feel like a rock star when you're playing a karaoke
you a
game.
Voice message, like, get out of here. I want to sing into a microphone.
That was one of my biggest things in uni was I had a friend who was really into Rock Band, and he had the microphone stand as well as like 3 microphones, and that was like everyone getting drunk and singing Bohemian Rhapsody down this one thing that was on this microphone stand. That's the memory that I want in a karaoke game.
Hell yeah.
But no one's making it, so...
Nope. Maybe at the PS6 reveal.
Maybe.
You know what franchise needs to go away? I think it's disgusting. I think it looks disgusting. I never want to look at it.
Call of Duty.
Oddworld.
Tarkov. Yeah,
Wait,
I don't know.
Oddworld,
yeah.
It's nasty looking.
It's got that weird sort of cult classic type thing. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, people do actually like these games. Okay.
Yeah, the people who like those games fucking like those games.
I didn't know people still liked them. I was like, wow, Oddworld. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this still looks like Oddworld. And I'm like, man, that game looks... those guys look nasty.
It's when he was introducing it, and it said Oddworld on the screen. I'm like, oh, I guess they're doing an Oddworld game. But then he started talking about it like it was going to be some like deep emotional experience that was going to stay with you for the rest of your life. And then it was just another Oddworld game. So,
hey, any Oddworld fans listening, do these games evoke something in you maybe that like I just don't know? Like maybe they...
Well, they're like, you'll be deciding the fate of your species.
It's like,
okay.
Maybe.
Do you love Oddworld? Call 1-800-ODDWORLD.
So we had all the games that they showed. Cool games, nice games, fun games. Then at the end, the thing people weren't sure if they would do, because it seemed like the messaging before the event was, this is a bunch of games, guys. Like, don't worry, we have more to say than another date too. This isn't the end of PS5 coverage. They did show the console though. Which is the thing everybody wanted. And I was worried after Horizon. I'm like, shit. I'm like, they ain't showing it. Damn it, I want to see this fucking box. And then they do their super cool hype, the little Dippin' Dot things formed the console. And everybody got to take a look at the PlayStation 5 for the very first time. After having months to digest the two-tone of the controller. For everybody who hates two-tone, the console is also two-tone. What do you guys think of the box?
Well, I'm glad it's not the toilet seat.
Mm-hmm.
I
hope they sell it in black.
I hope they sell it in black too. I admire that they've not just made a box, but also that looks like it's a pain in the ass to lay on its side. You've got to have it upright. And the problem with white, it gets grubby, and they've made it so that the entire plastic is mottled with little X's, squares, circles, and triangles. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to catch the dust even more. And it's going to look awful within a month.
I think it looks cool with the X's, circles, and triangles and squares. But I feel your pain though. I get
That's
where,
why
I get
it
where you're
needs to be
coming
in
from.
black, really.
Mm-hmm.
My couple of things is I like generally the way that it looks, but I do think it's a little bit impractical, I guess. Because I don't know if anyone had like an original Xbox 360 where you had you really had to have it lying down, or otherwise if you had it in that upright position, it fucked up the disk drive really badly.
Well, because they had that the curve thing going on as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't think it was as prominent.
Not as prominent,
yeah.
but
I ruined my Halo 3 disc with my 360.
My worry is that because it's curvy, I don't actually have a place to put one, because currently I don't have a ton of room, so my TV is on top of my PlayStation 4, but if it's curvy, I can't do that, so I ain't got room for one.
That's why you have to get an Xbox.
I mean, I kind of wish it was a little bit more like the Xbox, but I haven't seen gameplay from the Xbox yet, despite the fact that they've told me that I have, so...
Yeah, that's true.
It's a weird design. It's big, too. They had... there's a picture going around that shows you its relative size to the PS3 all through every other console through that generation onward, and it is bigger than the PS3 fat, the big fat boy PS3. It is bigger than that even, and that has always been the biggest console that I've ever seen on a friend's shelf. Has been that thing. My one friend still has the original PS3, and I'm like, that thing is just a chunky SOB, man. That I've never owned one of those ones, so I've never really seen it in action, and to know, but this is bigger than that in every way, is interesting to me to think about in perspective of even for me, where I'm going to put it. I want to get a new TV eventually anyway, and I really want to. I guess I have to get a new stand. I'm going to have to consider the dimensions of this thing when buying said stand, and whether or not I'm going to have it horizontal or vertical. I've never had a console vertical in my life. I just always feel nervous about it falling, because most of the time they're not designed they need a stand. So my PC tower is a big fat bottomed box, and that thing is not tipping over unless the Big Show runs through my room and knocks it over. This thing looks like if I let's say I fall in my room, that console's gonna go blah, 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 wobbling around and it stands. It's gonna freak me the fuck out.
The only two consoles I've ever had stood upright are the Wii, because it came with a stand and it looked better in that stand than it did.
It did look good standing up.
And the 360S, was it the S, the black one?
Yes.
That was that had the touch sensitive front button. That one stood up.
That was a nice console.
Yeah, it really was. One thing about Xbox, the consoles always look pretty good, in my opinion.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think the Xbox One S and the Elite, or the Xbox X and Elite, the Xbox One X, I think are really nice looking, simple but elegant looking machines that look really good. And I think
the question I have.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No.
I was going to talk about the box of the one, or the Series X, but we'll get to that anyway. But what were you going to say instead?
I was going to say, I guess it's similar. That if you're saying that this is bigger than the original PS3, I don't entirely understand how, because it's got an SSD now.
Yeah.
So what's taking up all of that? What's all that space?
I think the general idea, from what I've been able to read, is that they really want to improve airflow too in this thing. They don't want it because everyone complained that the PS4 sounds like a jet engine, and it does. It absolutely sounds like even the Pro. It doesn't matter what model you have. I'm playing Sakura Wars, and that game looks like a PS3 anime, and I turn it on and it's just it's like, Jesus Christ, man, this thing's dusted out. What's going on in there? Why is it so hot? It's running at 30 frames. So I think the idea is that they're trying a different cooling solution, and they want more airflow. And I guess, I could be wrong. I guess I'll wait for the Digital Foundry shit. But I guess the idea is that the bigger the box, the more and the more vents and fans and whatever you're working with in there will help that. The Series X is a giant cube which has a lot of room to circulate air. But it looks elegant in that it's this thing will just fit there and nobody will question what it is because it just looks like a nice little box on my shelf. This thing looks like you got it out of a Destiny engram. It looks like it's on Commander Shepard's shelf. This thing looks like a spaceship, and people are going to question it when they say, what the hell is that thing? What the fuck is that thing? And you go, that's my PlayStation 5.
I think that the digital one looks better,
Same.
but I wouldn't get the digital one.
Me neither. I need to be able to buy cheap games.
The only reason that I would buy the digital one is if they had, I guess PlayStation Now is sort of like Games Pass.
Right.
If they had that, and it would have to be like significantly cheaper to offset the fact that I was going to be buying everything digitally.
Because, whether someone buys primarily digitally or not, like I typically buy digital most of the time, I still throughout the year pick up a significant amount of physical games too through various means. Like, this game's on sale on Amazon or Best Buy, or I'm on Target. The clearance rack has Attack on Titan 2 for $4. Like, I can't get that for $4 literally anywhere else. It's $60 on the PSN. So I'm gonna buy that shit. If I don't have a disc drive, I have none of those options available to me anymore. So even though it's the uglier one with like a weird lump, it's the only option for me personally. Because I need that ability also to be able to buy a game physical for somebody in my house who also has a PS5 and that I can't console share with because I'm already doing it with my dad. And so it's the ability to be able to pass games around to, and it's funny, I list all these positives of physical games and I barely buy them, but I need the option. I need it.
Yep.
The digital one is the better one, and the sentiment online is that that's probably the one they designed first is probably true because it's symmetrical and it looks nicer. It just does. The weird thing about it, I didn't realize this until last night, is that it looks like you also need the stand to lay it horizontal. If you look at pictures of it horizontal, the stand is sitting in the center of the bottom of the console because it can't lay flush. It's because
it's either
lumpy thing.
Be on this weird little, it's only going to be touching at the edges because even at the top and the bottom it's still sort of like bowing out.
So I wonder, is there going to be an indication of where it's best to place that stand in the center? Because that's also weird to me too a little bit. As much as I like the design of this thing, that I have some questions about because I'm curious, is there going to be a way to lock it in? Because I'm sure you could lock it in when you're setting it horizontal. I can't imagine there's a way to lock it in vertical. I can't imagine there's a way to lock it in horizontal because it would look weird standing up if there's weird little notches on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Or on one side of it. So
unless it's magnetic.
I wonder if there's some way to snap it. Yeah, something like that. Ruin the
just
insides.
little tiny micro magnets.
I'm really curious. I want to see somebody. I want to see Digital Foundry or Wired or somebody get their hands on the console itself and give a little tour of the hardware. And I'm sure Sony will do that at some point. There's a lot more to reveal about this console. And we almost I thought we were gonna. They teased the fucking home screen for half a second in the damn show. They had the startup screen pop up with the press the PS button, and I'm like, holy shit! Are they gonna launch a game through the? Nope. You bastards. Because that's the other thing I really want to see is the UI and everything too. Is it going to be super similar to the PS4? Are they going to shake things up? Who knows? I don't really care personally, but I mean, I like fancy stuff. They're going to change it up in some way. No price though. No price yet.
Nope.
What price would you be okay with paying to get one day one?
So it's. Well, the thing is I'm going to get it regardless at this point. I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to drop.
What if it's $1,000?
Yeah, there's going to be a point where you're like, okay, that's too much for day one.
I mean, that's a crazy hypothetical. I don't think it would be 1,000, but
what if it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the most that you would pay for this router?
The most that I would pay. But the thing is I would end up paying that. Is my problem. But I wouldn't want to. The most I would pay and be like, okay, I can deal with this, is $700 maybe. But I don't want to.
Wow.
That's
was higher than I was.
That
was higher than I was thinking you were going to say.
And how much?
That is what, $650? No, that's $560.
And how much do I think it'll be? I think it'll be $600. Is what I think. I want to be wrong on that.
I hope you're wrong.
I don't think it'll be $400. I don't think it'll be the same as the PS4. I think the sweet spot is $5 if they want to.
Yeah, 600 is my upper limit of what I would expect it to be, because that's then about 480. Still pretty expensive. £480. Still pretty expensive, but I was like, well, I imagine it's probably going to be in the 400 to 450.
I don't think it'll be $700. I mean, I'm dropping these numbers down. I don't think it'll be that much.
Because in my head, I'm like, I hope that they're still thinking, man, the PS3 was way too expensive.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm thinking, as the technology gets better, it's like they're always going to sell it at a loss in some way, like they always do with these consoles. And I'm just wondering how much of a loss are they willing to sell these new ones at? And I feel like both companies are waiting for the other one to put the price out there. Like they probably have things in mind, and it's like nobody has talked about it yet. Nobody has even hinted at it. Nobody wants to. Like, especially now.
I feel like they've got to start putting it out, though, because people need to save up for these things. Because this is like a once-in-7-year purchase. These
things are months away. They need to put a price out at some point. Soon they have to. Like they can't keep farting around with it.
Part of me wonders if, the reason, that it might be more expensive or that they're just not saying anything yet is... I mean, they've said that there's been no issues with production because of COVID. I probably should bleep that word. I think that YouTube doesn't like it. And they're trying not to have that knock on and be like, well, we've had to pay extra for the production, but we can't we wanted to sell it at $450, but now that's like a $200 loss or whatever per unit. We need to up the price, but can we get away with not upping it? I'm wondering if that's part of the reason.
I guess, in Sony's benefit, this thing has the lucky one-up of being the sequel to one of the best-selling consoles of all time, and that this thing is going to sell a lot if it's priced appropriately. To where I'm not a businessman, but I feel like Sony can recoup their losses pretty easily with the PlayStation 5, just based on the hype around it alone, too. I mean, most liked, most watched Instagram posts, just the amount of buzz around everything they've put out, even if it's been a fucking logo, has been insane. People really want this thing or want to see this thing. And PS4 is, that was the big one for this previous gen. I think they have the benefit of potentially being able to maybe sell it a little cheaper than Xbox. But I also think both companies are going to do well. So I don't know. But they have to announce it soon. They can't keep it a fucking mystery this entire summer.
I'd guess that Microsoft would be more inclined to take a larger loss.
True, Phil Spencer.
Because of how much they properly cocked up, like the follow up to. All right, the PS4 has done really well, so the PS5 is going to do great.
That's a good point.
The 360 did amazingly. And then they just pissed it all away with the always online and it's more of a TV box, blah 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 blah. And
darn metric.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be like, okay, we've won some people back, but now we definitely need to win people back, and we can't.
Good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, there's so many potential variables, and state of the world included, and it's like, well. Please don't be $1,000. That would be insane. I would faint. I think if that came out as the price. Imagine straight faced announcing that price. Like you got to be out of your mind to come on.
We want people to work 3 jobs in order to afford one,
Look,
so that they're really happy with their purchase.
I'm Jim Ryan. You want to pay $1,000 for your console? Of course you do. We're Sony. Was that good?
That was good.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was meant to be.
Jim Ryan at Sony.
I don't think I know that man.
Watch it back. Yeah, he's the new Sony guy. After Sean Layden left. He's very intimidating looking, like he's gonna beat you up in a Guy Ritchie film. But
I don't think I'm gonna buy one at launch. Just because I don't know, the thing that I'm the most excited about is probably not going to be out for quite a while yet.
Right. Yeah, it depends on how the launch lineup looks, really, for a lot of people, probably.
And so far, we don't actually know what any of the launches.
Oh, that's true. But considering I bought my PS4 secondhand for £90, it's going to be a bit steep for me to then have to pay
Yeah.
£450 for a new console.
A lot of the big games coming out this fall are games that are announced for current gen. You know what I mean? Like we're looking at Cyberpunk, we're looking at Yakuza, we're looking at even stuff like The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, and a lot of the stuff coming out over the next few months are things you're not going to need to buy any new hardware to play. So I mean, it's depending on what the launch titles are for a lot of people, and then factoring in the price. It might be a wait and see for a lot of people, and I think it will be anyway, just due to the way everyone's lives have been shaken up with financials, especially too. It's going to be an interesting year to see, how these things do, and where everyone's sitting at in November, October, depending on when these things launch. So it'll be an interesting year coming up. But now we've seen all the cards on the table from both Sony and Microsoft, and I'm generally pretty excited. Overall, to see where everything ends up at the end of this year in the gaming world, anyway.
Yeah, I want to know what Nintendo are doing for the next.
I was just gonna bring it up. I was just gonna bring that up. So we've had all these shows. We've talked about the confusing, twisted labyrinth of E3 conferences. We've talked about Sony. Where the fuck is Nintendo? Where are you guys?
They just have Paper Mario and that's it, and I don't get it.
Like, Paper Mario at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. What the hell? What the fuck?
Well, apparently there was another trailer for it that dropped on Friday.
I
was like, oh, okay.
Since the Switch, I've always enjoyed Directs because I think they're one of the best formats for anything. They've nailed it. Like, it's always a joy to watch, even if it's shit that sucks, because it's succinct in a way that nobody else nails. And it's friendly, and it makes you happy. Even if it's something stupid. Because it's like, oh, that game's coming out. There's like bubble gum drops in it. Oh, it's available now? Oh, this shit's fun. They always nail that stuff. And especially in the Switch era, I love it. I love my Switch. I love anything. Like, just give me announce new games for it. I don't even give a shit what it is. I'm going to get excited because it's like, shit, it's on the Switch. Oh, my God. It's, I get pumped. We have not had a proper direct.
Where's GTA 5 on the Switch?
Coming. First direct. First big thing that happens. It's going to show PS4 footage.
Opens with Rockstar.
And you're going to wait for it to switch over to Switch footage, and it doesn't. We haven't had a proper big media direct in months and months.
Was it Did we have one this year, or was the last one last September?
Everyone was waiting for the January direct, and it never happened.
Yeah, and then we did get a direct, and there was like nothing there.
We got like a Xenoblade direct to like show off Definitive Edition, give the release date of Definitive Edition, and then we got
and that was the only thing of note that actually happened in that direct, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I think so.
So yeah, I hope they do something. I mean, I don't know if they've gone on record of saying they just aren't doing any until later this year, but I mean, they don't have a big fall game announced, and they have a big fall game. Like, they won't not have a big fall game. So
I keep hearing rumors of like, Metroid Prime trilogy.
Oh yeah.
What else have I heard rumors of?
The Mario collection.
Yeah, the Mario 3D platformer collection. And we've just do a stream. Like, even if it's not for a while, just tell me what I've got to look forward to, because I've just been stuck in the house for 4 months and I'm bored. Like,
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, because like the last thing they said was like a week or two before there was a rumored direct, and then just said, "Yeah, we're not going to do one. If you're a third party, just announce stuff when you want."
Did you see the most exciting thing in terms of Switch news recently is the first screenshot of No More Heroes came out.
Oh, did it?
It did.
Is it just the title?
No, it's Travis stood outside of the No More Heroes motel, but it was taken on a like a camera phone of a screen with like a Rick and Morty figure next to Travis. It was weird.
Okay.
I was really hoping that we'd have, because that's supposed to be this year. I was really hoping we'd have news about Travis. No, not Travis Strikes Again. No More Heroes 3.
I have.
I don't know.
Way too much riding on Breath of the Wild 2.
Tingle costume.
Yeah, Tingle costume for Legend of Zelda 2.
Yeah.
No, like, I obviously want news. I want to know what I can look forward to play, but maybe August. I don't know.
I don't know.
Man. It's got to be the summer. It's got to be, especially if it's a big game that needs to be marketed in some way. I mean, even if it doesn't need to be marketed, it's still the company's going to want to market it. Whatever.
But you'd have thought that they'd want to like supermarket Paper Mario.
Maybe. Is Paper Mario a train station advertisement? Probably not, right?
Well,
I can't go to a train station right now to tell you.
If our big fall game is something like a new Mario game or a Mario Kart or something they want to sell 20 million copies, they're going to want to advertise that sucker. Brand recognition or
but
not.
Then they could also announce that just 2 weeks before it came out. Some posters go up and people go, "Oh crap, there's a Mario Kart coming out in 2 weeks."
True. They got to do something, I hope, soon. I miss them. I missed the Nintendo Directs. And I
do too.
I understand why a few months ago we didn't really hear much. A lot of uncertainty, but I mean, like, you could tell us like something. Like, I know you guys are in there doing stuff. Like, you guys are putting updates out for your games and putting out Paper Mario. I know you guys are walking around in there. What are you guys doing? What do you got cooking up? I gotta dress like fucking Tingle, Nintendo. Come on, man. Give me something. I mean, now I know for a fact it won't be Breath of the Wild 2. After the way this year has gone, even if that game was planned for this year, no longer. I am going to dress like Tingle on a stream this year, and that's unfortunate for me.
It's going to be a remake of the 3DS Pikmin.
Oh, that was another thing I heard. Pikmin 3 port.
Yeah.
I keep hearing all these rumours and nothing to substantiate them, but I get excited anyway.
Nothing to substantiate them except for blind hope.
Yeah, pretty much.
Never played a Pikmin game, so port it, Nintendo. Let's go, man.
3 is really good.
3 is pretty good.
Hashtag
by Metroid.
Hashtag play Pikmin. Hashtag by Metroid.
This, hey, that ball's in Nintendo's court now, I don't have a Wii U anymore. Come on, Nintendo. I got to buy Metroid, But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's hopefully that's the last piece of the puzzle right now for me. You know what I mean, for the summer of games here. I'd love a sickle Nintendo announcement to just kind of bring it all home. But
what I want? I want them to just be like, we've got some news for you. Monolith Soft's new fantasy RPG, and I would die happy just from seeing it, because they've had like this concept art picture floating around for ages, and it looks super cool, and not heard anything about that in like 3 whole years. So
this is the year.
But then they did the definitive edition.
Yeah.
Xenoblade.
Speaking of, do we want to talk about what we've been playing? Any other thoughts on any shows?
Ooblets.
Oh yeah, Ooblets is getting a little. It's getting warmer. Coming, we've been asking for this and more information on Ooblets every E3 as a collective.
It's finally happening.
Was it August?
It just said summer 2020.
Okay, I might have seen someone hypothesize August then.
Maybe it's next week.
Also, Potionomics looks cool, and so does Among Trees. That's my entire takeaway from.
True. Evil Genius Simulator or whatever it was.
Okay, did you see that Flying City Builder?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. As soon as I saw the trailer,
is that a city builder in the sky?
As soon as I saw that, I went, Kinross. That is a Kinross game.
Kato looked kind of cute and interesting. That was the top-down puzzle map-making thing.
Oh, yeah!
Here's another thing. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. Looks garbage.
Yeah, it does.
That was the hardest turnaround, because they were like talking, I like farming and meeting people, and Abby and I were like, oh. And Steve was like, you're going to like this one. And then they said, Story of Seasons. We're like, He's like, okay, maybe not.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. No, I just don't understand how they're remaking Friends of Mineral Town, and you can choose from 4 playable characters, which are 2 generic white dudes and 2 generic white girls. Like, it's a remake. Let me design my own character. It's not impossible now. Let me do it.
Grody. It just looks nasty.
I remain of the opinion that a choice of 4 is worse than a choice of 2. Give me male. If you are going to limit it that much, give me a male character and a female character.
Yeah.
Don't give me 2 of each, and they both look kind of the same.
Yeah, the illusion of choice, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
What was the other? There was like one other little weird, quirky thing that I was like, that seems kind of cool.
Haven is the one that sticks out to me.
Haven looks cool.
Haven
as hell.
is also good.
I think Haven looks really, really
Haven
neat.
2. Shadow Man.
Shadow Man Remastered.
I've never even heard of that game. What the hell is that?
It's a cult classic, Bill.
I'm not in that cult. The hell is that?
Oh, but you will be when you lose a bet one day and have to play Shadow Man Remastered.
Fuck, in a Tingle costume?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, if you want it to be.
I mean, I'm gonna have that fucking Tingle costume. I'm gonna have to use it more than once, so
You could do Gandalf dressed as Tingle.
There we go.
I can't find what this other game was. There was another like little. Oh, Cartel Tycoon. That looked kind of fun too. So,
There were some good games at the PC Gaming Show. I just think PC
Yeah.
Gaming Show in general is not good. So.
yeah.
Hey, Persona's on PC now.
I won't play it.
Cool
I hope
stuff.
that
mean,
comes
maybe I
out
will.
on Switch because I think what Persona 4 needs is to be on a portable console.
It needs to be on a portable console where
It's-
it doesn't cripple your hands.
It's never been done before. It's never been on a portable console. Not
They
not
all
once.
cripple my
so.
hands. They all cripple my hands.
How big are your hands? That's what I want to know.
They're not actually
Are
that
they-
big.
Are they fragile? Just like small
I
and
think
fragile.
I think they just suck. They just suck.
Early
Hands aren't big
onset
or small.
arthritis.
They're just crap.
It might be. They like lock up. I think that's carpal tunnel type stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I believe.
It does sound like it.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be
what was
surprised
your-
at this point.
I know that we wanted to move on, but what was your opinion on the Outlast game?
Was it Outlast game? Did I miss
Any of
that?
interest to you?
The Outlast
Trails.
Oh, I didn't see that. Was that a PC Gaming Show? I kind of tuned out actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looked spooky. It looked very spooky, but it
Ooh, it's
did look
co-op.
like an Outlast game. So
It was co-op.
Yeah, it's a co-op, like, I don't even know how to describe it, because I was just listening to it.
Well, Dad. I was with my dad. There we go. I'm interested in that now. Thank you for bringing that up because I tuned out, I guess.
watch that
and
trailer
Torch-
and tell me it's not disgusting though.
Probably is.
The only other thing, now I found them, Fate Tactics and Torchlight 3.
Oh, Fate Tactics looks sick, dude. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, dude. That art was amazing. Oh my god, yeah. So inviting. Hell yeah, man. Forgot about that game.
I know that I've basically listed 90% of the game show thing, but you know what? It's because there was a lot of, like,
Look good.
interesting stuff.
Indies doing
Screw
cool stuff.
Icarus. I don't think that I like that game.
Which one was that?
That's the Dean Hall one.
Oh, yeah. I just googled Icarus and got the actual Greek mythology Icarus instead.
Yeah.
But, yeah. At the end of the day, I've complained about missing some things, but we still got lists of new games coming out that are still fun. So at the end of the day,
True.
I don't want to be too, downer boy about it, but I just like it to be a little more organized. I want E3 back next year.
Here's the thing. I want a PC show that's not too long. I want an indie games thing, but I want one. I don't want 7.
Yeah.
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 I want my AAA stuff. I miss Ubisoft. I never miss Ubisoft, but I do now because I want to know what's happening with... What was that game called? Gods and Monsters?
Gods and Monsters.
I want to know what's
the one
going
that
on
released
with
in
that.
February.
Yeah, it had a release date of February until about March, so...
Did you see what happened with that game?
No?
Yeah, Stadia accidentally leaked the build onto Stadia.
Oh.
And people were able to play it for like 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild. And people say it's good.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
So, yeah.
So
it's
there was a
exciting.
build that Stadia had that was playable, and people have enjoyed it, but it's not
It's
on
interesting.
any radar at the moment
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like,
There's probably more
What
work
What is
to
that?
do
I'm
on
gonna
it.
check what their website says, actually. Gods and Monsters.
I think it just last I checked, it just says 2020.
You know what's interesting? It's going to be funny to watch, open world games going forward. in a post Breath of the Wild world where a lot of companies over the years have copied Ubisoft, their template of open world, but they kind of pioneer with Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 3 and all that stuff. Now Ubisoft is copying Breath of the Wild, which Breath of the Wild did its own thing. And now we get to see, is it going to go full circle, or are people going to copy Ubisoft again, but now indirectly copying Breath of the Wild? We're going to find out. Open world games will forever be changed on the SSD in a post Breath of the Wild world. Exciting stuff. I
just want games.
I hope.
I want games, and I want money to play games.
Yeah.
And also, I also want time. I want time to play games. Because I've taken this E3 week off as usual. I've done next to nothing with it other than play Final Fantasy.
That's the dream. Hey, vacationing in Ortia, baby.
Minfilia in the silence. Yeah, I'll be curious to see. Oh God, sorry. I'll be curious to see what goes on after this week because everything is so spread out. So I don't think. What was it, like 12th of July that we get?
Ubisoft, yeah. I've got to remember that there's a Baldur's Gate thing on the 18th.
Oh yeah, game looks cool as hell. I love that Larian guy. The studio
Sven.
Head. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna see if they updated this website to see what got revealed at the thing that was happening while.
Dude's an infectious ball of energy. I love the man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He blew out his mic though, which is unfortunate. He's just so happy and bouncy and.
A lot of stuff got announced while we were recording this podcast.
Oh Jesus!
Like a lot of stuff.
Okay, on what, the IGN or the
Guerrilla Collective Day 2?
All right, let's have a look.
What the hell? There's a Guerrilla Collective sale going on too on Steam.
I only see one thing.
The Guerrilla Collective.
It's kind of funny and mix. So it's like
Skatebird. Sorry.
Oh crap! That got a date.
Q1 2021.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Man, this news cannot get fresher.
I mean, by the time it goes out,
I mean, it's still pretty fresh.
Oh, Summit in Mara comes out in 2 days.
Jay and Silent Bob have a game.
Of course.
Okay.
Haven's coming to Xbox Game Pass. I don't know if we knew that.
I think I'd seen it on the show last night. I like how many games have demos now. I will say that.
Yeah, a lot of demos got announced over the last few days. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So yeah. Anyway.
Sick. More stuff to dive into on another day. I'm sure more games will get announced tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
It's freaking nuts. But those are the games of the future. We've been playing some games.
We're in the future now.
So a lot of JRPG action been going on amongst the crew here lately, both in the offline world and in the online world. Because 14 is a JRPG. Did we want to talk about Xenoblade first?
We should talk about Xenoblade first because I'm eager to talk with you voice to voice.
Yeah.
About Xenoblade.
It's just been text and Twitch chat. So, for those of you out there who don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition came out on the Nintendo Switch 2 weeks ago, after being, a tumultuous life for this first game in the series. Now a very successful franchise for Nintendo, but at one point they didn't even want to fucking localize a damn thing. It got localized by Europe only. Super low printing for the Wii. Shit costs like $100 on eBay at the time. Was this rare but esteemed, amazing, best RPG of all time caliber game just hanging out on the Wii. Got a 3DS port. More people got to play it. People are like, shit, this game's good, Nintendo. Thank you. Now it's on the Switch in HD.
They made it anime, and I'm really happy.
They redid all the models.
It was not anime before. If you watch some old cutscenes, you'll be like, wow.
It's weird looking.
Super glad I waited this long to play this game.
It almost feels like fate for me, because I tried playing it on the Wii, and I think we might have even talked about it on the show at some point. And I'd love to go back and find that episode and hear exactly what I said back then about the game. But
You're gonna have to slap old Bill.
Yeah, I believe my complaints were stuff about the side quests, stuff about probably me just sucking, honestly. Like that's besides the side quest, I don't know what other problems I would have had with the game besides me sucking. Well, in 2020, I don't suck.
I'm a gamer now.
I gave it another shot, and this is the second in the line of Billy redeems himself with his friend Abby line of games. I went back and I beat a Fire Emblem game. Now I'm going back and I'm playing this, and I love it. I love it.
That makes you two better than me. I don't think that I've redeemed myself to Abby on anything.
I don't think I have. And I was talking on my stream the other night. I was talking with Chad about how as I'm playing it, I like to try to think about things that, because there's a difference between something I don't like about a game and then like me complaining as I'm playing it, like, fucking Ryan, you idiot, what are you doing, dude? Why aren't you in the chain attack, you goddamn bastard? You're not dazed or anything.
Sorry, what's this Ryan slander? I won't stand for it.
Sometimes he's just not in the chain attack. I don't know what he's doing sometimes, but he's a great man.
He's probably cut off from you. That's not his fault. He's trying to tank.
Sometimes he doesn't topple.
That's because he's got one topple move and it's probably on cooldown.
It's weird that he only has one. Other people have like 2, 3. Other people have multiple dazes, multiple breaks. What's going on? The game kind of did around dirty there. But no, like there's a difference between something I don't like about a game and something I'm like maybe complaining about on stream that's like giving me trouble. But at the end of the day, it's not really like a bad thing in the game. It's just I'm either sucking at that moment or I'm in a hard fight. It's just hard. I was hashing it out with chat, and I'm thinking, like, I don't think there's many things in this game that I truly don't like, or like things that are really big detractors for me while playing it. Coming to terms with the way this game does its side quest is not the way you do side quests in, say, The Witcher or Mass Effect. You're not going like, oh, there's like 3 side quests here, let me accept those, and they're very deep, and you're doing them to get a story out of them. There's some in here that are named that have little stories, for the affinity chart and stuff like that, which is a really cool system. But for the most part, the reconciliation one must make with the side quests in this game is that they exist to be accepted and forgotten about as you're doing the story. You won't realize you've just completed 20 side quests in the span of 2 hours just by running to the next objective, by picking shit up, killing things, and it's like, boom, money, 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 money. And that's how you're making money in this game. Like, that's the best way to make money that I have found. And I have hundreds of thousands of dollars now because I just accept quests and I have fun with it.
The second best way is to have played Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, you get 100,000 gold for free if you played Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That's a nice little boost. That's a nice little booster. Beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's all gone on skill books, but yeah.
But it means that you could buy the skill books at the start rather than having to grind out.
Yeah, I think with the side quests though, I think that's more just a thing that you do to fill out the affinity chart rather than being like a deep, meaningful gameplay experience.
That's the other thing. Yeah, is that's like once you realize that's how it's designed, and it's because a lot of gamers nowadays have the tendency to want to complete every side quest. It's like a just strong burning flame inside of your soul that, I have to do all this stuff. And in any game, you never have to. And a lot of times it makes you mad. And in Xenoblade's case, it will make you especially mad if you're that kind of completionist because there are gajillions of them. But they exist to serve a very specific purpose, and you don't have to fulfill that purpose. You're not missing out on anything, really, by not like helping this guy paint something. For the most part, I glossed that side quest dialogue, and I'm not missing anything.
Sounds like you've got a problem.
It's never anything super substantial, and I like it that way, though. I like it that way because it allows me it gives me the opportunity to interact with the things that I do like more, and that's exploring these zones and this world. And I think that's one thing that this RPG does very well, among many other things. I mean, the story, the characters, the music, but like a lot of games have their worlds as like a vessel for you to just move through, and like I'm gonna use this area to like give you some nice scenery, and you're gonna move through it to your next objective. But like there are like so many weird little areas and notches and secret places and unique enemies and opportunities for loot and side quests and just interesting enemies to fight, that like the thing I like about Xenoblade and the things that the side quests give me opportunities to do is see these zones, because they are designed. They aren't just like copy paste rocks, copy paste this, make it a valley. It is like you will find hidden areas and you will get experience bonuses for that. You will find monsters who are maybe 5 levels above you, who are gold plated, who are elite, who will drop a weapon for Dunban or something like that you wouldn't have gotten. There's no other way to get that. And like it makes exploring the zones, it makes picking up the side quests, the way that you get to see these things. It's not the side quests that it's not for the side quests itself that you're picking those up. It's like everything else. It's these like, it's the same way an MMO designs their zones. And like, is that they want you to see every corner of it, and they're going to make sure you do it if you pick up the side quests. And like, this side quest gives you monsters to kill in this corner. They just want you to go to that fucking corner, man, because there's a weird little cave over there with stuff in it. And it's like, I appreciate that so much, because maybe I would not have gone to that corner at all. And like maybe a story side quest wouldn't have taken me to that corner for any good reason. But I have a reason to check it out because I have exclamation points over there. And every zone has been just a joy to like traverse. And like all of them. Satoral Marsh, Volok Mountain, Bionis Leg, Field, whatever the hell. I forgot some of the names of the earlier ones. It's been 50
It's called
hours.
the Bionis Leg, but you can call it the Gower Plain if you want.
Yes. They've all been... Satoral Marsh especially has been my favorite. Just like the moods in that zone are great. The areas in that zone are great. And it was in that zone specifically that I'm like, I'm getting like weird Breath of the Wild-y vibes from some of the explorable spots in this game. Specifically the one where you go into that weird lizard castle and you could like sneak behind them and open the hidden door and go up. And there's a boss up there to fight, and like it's super hard, and you get a chest,
why.
and then it clicked to me. It's like, yeah, of course these guys helped with fucking Breath of the Wild. Like, of course it feels like Breath of the Wild, because their zones are designed the way Breath of the Wild was designed, with curiosity in mind. And like, you could go objective to objective, but I think the best strength of this game, among many other things, like I said, is that each zone is not exhausting. Like, they're big, but some games go on too long and think they have more to show you than they do. Shenmue 3. But Xenoblade has a lot to show you, in that, like, 50 hours in, instead of me thinking, wow, I'm 52 hours into a video game, when is this game going to end? Instead, I'm like, I don't want this game to end. Show me the next zone. Show me the next zone. I want to explore more zones. I want to fill out my Collectopedia. I want to fight more shit because I'm loving the combat. Like, I love it. I love the zones. I love the game, like the way it's structured. I think it's fantastic. Sorry.
Why am I getting like a little bit emotional about you talking about how much you love this game?
It's a really well-paced RPG in a way that I think the importance of... Because I think about back to back what we just played also in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm not using this as a doc for 7 Remake, but it's a very particular type of JRPG, and that like it's a game mainly focused on pushing you through its narrative more than allowing you to explore its world. And we'll get there in 7 Remake too, hopefully. In that, like, here, explore this world, rather than like, here's your cinematic JRPG. Whereas Xenoblade has all of that too. Like the cutscenes have all, and the voice and the music and everything that I've seen in the story so far up to chapter 11 have all been like just hype as hell and exciting, but like they never do that at the expense of everything else either. Like, there's really not much to explore in 7 Remake, something like that kind of JRPG. Again, not docking it, but like comparing the two games side by side, Xenoblade's RPG design is like open world but not, and like they put so much emphasis on going on this journey. It feels like a lot of games don't feel like that too often anymore, where it feels like you're watching a 300-episode anime, where like you're going across all these different biomes and all these different places and meeting all these different people and these different settlements and these different cultures. You know,
Mate, you don't even know the fucking half of it yet.
Seeing the Nopon and like seeing seeing Alchemoth, like seeing all these different places, it's like, wow, this is like really cool for Shulk to see, and you know, like leaving his little colony and going out, and you know, this was a quest for revenge, but it's so much more, and you know, being involved in so many things and turning into a leader, and you know, it's such a beautiful story to see unfold so far. For me, I talked, you know, a little bit about that in my stream. I don't want to go too into spoiler specifics. I was spoiler specific on that stream because I was playing spoilers. But in this instance, like, it feels massive to me, and it not at the expense of my boredom. Like, it's never feels like it's exhausting me in any way, shape, or form. And that's also down to the fact that I think the combat is incredibly well thought out, and that it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot in there to chew on and learn. And I think that might have punched me in the face the first time I played it. And maybe I wasn't patient enough to learn it. And I think I had a similar experience with Fire Emblem. I would never say that Three Houses on normal mode has more or near as much depth as Xenoblade does, but it's a new thing for me. And like something I wasn't familiar with, similar to this. And so taking the time to sit down, and once you got a full party, you know, getting tips from you and Discord, and you know, whatever, and all that stuff helped me out to realize, oh, you know, you need to utilize break topple days. You need to keep party composition in mind. You need to like have your bar sorted right. You're utilizing chain attacks.
I don't ever sort my bar out. My bar is the default as it comes.
I'm super like anal about the bars, even if it's a character I don't control. I look at it and go, "That just
I've got my rotations.
Nasty.
I've got my rotations.
Yeah.
I can't change it. You know."
It's that level of depth is so customizable, and there's so many systems to just chew on that it's just such a treat. It's impossible for me to feel bored with it. There's always something going on.
I am so proud. For a start, I want to say this as someone who has been telling everyone to play Xenoblade Chronicles for like 5 years at this point. Still, the point is, play Xenoblade Chronicles because it's real good. But I feel like proud because it was like less than a week ago that I was giving you tips and telling you how to topple and whatever. And now you're like, let me tell you how gem crafting works. And I've just got such pride that you stuck with it and learnt it and are enjoying it. It's worth learning, in my opinion.
I think so.
Like,
I
the
think
systems
so for sure.
of the game.
I love it. I love it to death. It's one of my favorite RPGs I've ever played in general. I think at this point, and
yeah.
I mean, you're telling me I don't even know the half of it, and like that's what excites me so much about the game is like where I'm at right now at hour 52 could easily be the lead up to the end of the game. Where I'm at, and I mean it's a location, Sword Valley. That's where I'm at the moment, and it feels like this is where Shulk wanted to go, and I'm like, there's like 40 hours of this left. I'm so excited about that fact. Like, pumps me up. Unless I'm closer to the end than I think, but I don't think.
No, the thing is, it feels like it's got a build up, and then you'll be like, oh. By the time you finish this game, yeah, that was perfectly paced. They did everything they needed to. They told the story that they needed to, and that's good.
That's what excites me about it. Because up till this point, they've nailed it all. Like, just nailed everything that, like, I look for and appreciate in an RPG and a game. And it couldn't have come at a better time, as I'm in the middle of my JRPG fever here, and really taking these games apart and beating them.
I believe on record... Possibly on record. Had a lot of issues with the Wii and the 3DS edition. And I haven't watched Ebby play it on stream. Again, I don't know if it's like one of those things where Ebby just happens to know how to play the game and thus makes it look better, or whether there are actually things either in my own brain that have improved in the time, or that they've tweaked in the definitive edition, however slightly.
I honestly don't think they've actually tweaked that much in terms of how the game plays, personally.
Well, the more that I'm looking at it, the more I'm inclined to agree. I am still of the mind that they have tweaked how the I don't know what it's called, the chain gauge
Party gauge.
I feel like that, again, that might either be because you're playing it better. I think it fills faster. It definitely takes longer to decay.
I don't think it fills faster, because the way that the chain gauge fills up is if you do like a move correctly.
Okay.
You'll get a big like chunk of the chain gauge fill. So if you do backslash while in the right position and it does effective damage, you'll get charge. And that's how it's always worked. So if you know what you're doing, you can charge it pretty quick, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it does, yeah.
So I might still suck at building it up, but because I sucked at building it up and then it was gone instantly, it was always miserable. So even if it takes me a long time to build it up, if it's taking longer to decay, that's okay. Because eventually I'll get it.
I still haven't quite figured out, or if I did figure it out in the 3DS version, I don't remember, how you continue a chain attack.
Yeah.
From what I recall seeing on either, it was a mix of Chronicles 2 and maybe on
I'm gonna say this right now. I fucking hate Chronicles 2 and its chain attack system. I think it's garbage and overcomplicated.
Fair enough. From what I've read,
sorry,
No. From what I didn't mean to like emphasize it like that. It was just because I was putting something down. From when I've been like trying to work out what skills do, because it was being weird. I think the extended chain attacks are a percentage chance based on your affinity between the two people that are about to be handed over.
Right.
So like from Shulk to Ryan, or Ryan to Sharla, or Sharla to Shulk. So it's a percentage chance of that, which will then trigger the quick time event to extend it, and then it'll be another percentage chance with like a higher DC, I guess, to extend it again and again and again. Because there was like a graph or a little infographic where it was like spinning in circles of improved affinity shape, color, or whatever. And it was implying that, basically.
So party switching, is what you're saying, is detrimental.
Potentially, yes. Depending on how affinity is built between party members. Like, if affinity is only built within combat, then
I don't think
probably.
It's the only place that it builds affinity. I think when you level up... No, that's not right.
You can give gifts, too.
I don't know.
I don't know how much that affects... Is that what you're talking about? Like, your affinity between those characters? Like, your relationships with them gives you better chances?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if they're better friends, they'll be more likely to
I haven't done much gift giving.
A chain extension.
Because I feel like when I give gifts, they don't like any of the shit I give them. But
I actually have a question for you. How do you feel about the heart-to-hearts that assume that you were there for something that happened 17 years ago and you were not there for?
You know what's weird is like I haven't done barely any of them, because half of them show up and it goes, you got to get further in the story for this one, and it's like, okay, all right, I guess I'll come back to the zone sometime, and then like I'll go to another one, like, oh, this person got to be like super best friends with this character you just got, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not, so all right, I mean, I guess, okay. I've seen maybe
there's one right at the start of the game, where it's Shulk and Fiora.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what your question was. Yeah, go ahead.
And Shulk's like, oh, we've been here before. And Fiora's like, do you remember why we were here? And you have to, like, pick between two of this thing that happened years ago that you weren't present for. You just gotta guess.
I feel like the first question is always like, you've either played the game before and therefore know the answer, looked up the answer,
right, probably, yeah.
or you're just going to guess it. And then the second question is going to be like, okay, how do you think the characters would respond in this moment?
Yeah.
So it's like, one's a history question and one's a personality question, and it's either to make it neutral or slightly good, or if you're reading a wiki, you get the perfect route.
I've got them all wrong, man. I'll tell you that right now.
You don't know your party.
Well, I've only done 2 of them where I've had to do that, because like I said, I haven't really gotten a chance to do too many heart-to-hearts. I got to look at my list. Thankfully, though, it adds them to the list, and I can look at that list whenever I want and see, like, okay, I need to get my affinity up between Ryan and Sharla or whatever, and so I can go back and see that one heart-to-heart that I missed. So I do eventually want to get on that, similarly to how, like, you know, I try to stay on top of my supports in 3 Houses. But I've just been just so addicted to exploring the world that I haven't really done too much of that yet.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you like it. I've always been like, one thing that I always point to when I'm trying to push people into playing Xenoblade is actually the world. So I would like to know your opinion on how I know you said that you like the zones and stuff, but how does it make you feel to know that you started on the ankle of the Bionis and you climbed up to the head? How cool is that though?
Because one of the things, the zones are part of it, the setting, and knowing, where you are. And they always do a good job of reminding you when you enter a new zone, and it shows you where on the Bionis that you are. There's a little glowing dot on the little silhouette of the Bionis logo, and it's always cool to be like, because not every zone is named after one of its limbs, so it's cool to like get to a spot and be like, holy shit, I'm like on his neck or something. Like this, it doesn't feel like it helps to portray the scale of the Bionis and the Mechonis both. This is an entire civilization built on this once living thing, and it's fucking huge to be like, oh yeah, we're on the knee, and it's like, what the heck? They just don't even question it. There's I got a fucking summer home on the knee, and it's amazing. I think the world building is so great, and the setting is so unique, that you sometimes forget that you're on like a giant titan. Like you forget that sometimes, until you're reminded of it through the story or whatever, and to know that this thing could wake up at any moment or something. Like it's amazing. And the I never really
say the thing I want you to say.
It never really clicked with me what Sword Valley meant, until now. Is it's the sword stuck that bridges the two, and there's it's so cool. The world's great is my response to your question. Everything about it has resonated so positively with me, and in terms of the world building and the setup and the cultures and the things that have been built on this once living thing is amazing to me. The scale of the world's massive, and I think
the coolest thing for me in Gower Plain is when you sort of doing your thing and you're I don't know, distracted with side questing, and Juju's gone on his little truck again, and then you sort of forget what it is that you're doing, and then you'll look up and you'll see the Mechonis. And it, at night, its eyes glow red, and it's really cool.
The skyboxes are amazing. Everything on the horizon, the world is so detailed in that, it blows my mind that this was on the Wii at one point. I don't remember what it looked like 100%, because I've done such a really great job with glossing over this game and making it look like it belongs on the Switch. Is just standing. One of the first things I do in every new zone is I will find a sick spot to stand in and take a screenshot, day and night. Being able to change the time, beautiful. Whenever I want, amazing. Thank you. Great quality of life thing. I don't know if that was in the original.
That was in the original.
It seems necessary with the way side quests work on a time-based thing. And I'll just find a sick spot, look at the horizon, look at the skybox, and then be like, damn, I might go up there one day. It's just cool. The world's amazing. Being able to zoom out and take it all in.
The progression of it is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you agree.
Yeah.
On the subject of scale, again, don't know if this was the case on the Wii. There was a moment that you caught on stream at the corner of your eye, where you end up, I guess Gower Plain? I'm trying to remember.
It was Colony 6.
The outside of Colony 6. And to sort of cement the scale of things, if you stand in a certain spot, you're able to look down and see Colony 9 on the ankle. It's bloody miles away, but you know what it is, and you know that's where you've come from.
It was on the Wii version, but it was not as impressive as it is in
probably looked a little,
the definitive edition.
A little muddy.
But you can see, if you stand, just before you go into the ether mines near Colony 6, if you stand on these, ropey bits of land that are sort of poking out, you can see, the back of the calf, you can see a bowl shape, and that's Colony 9, where you started the game. And then if you pan up, you can see the shape of the leg, and you can see the archways from Gower Plain. So you can see, oh, you started there and then you went up through the leg, or through the, like, shin, I guess, to get to the leg where you've then just come from. And it's just, like, it's neat. It's just neat because I can't think of another game that does that.
It makes you feel less like you are traversing zones separated by loading screens and more like you really are moving along. I mean, it's very important that they make sure that they portray that because, like, you are moving up and around and along this giant body. It makes it feel less like zones separated by loading screens and more like you really are. Like, this is a giant open world. Like, that's what it helps portray, and like that adds so much to the scale.
I mean, I guess the closest thing would be Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
That you can look at something and be like, yeah, I was over there. That's where I fought bloody Lionel died.
Yeah. Like, I climbed that mountain with my bare hands. But it's like that, but it happened in 2010 on the Wii. Like,
insane RPG. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, too. Is like, yeah, like, this is a game that isn't new. But it's but a lot of the stuff in it, to me, like, it doesn't really feel aged at all in any way. I mean, like, the Wii was 2 gens ago, and a lot of the design philosophies in here are like you said, Abby. They don't think they've changed too much. It's like they're the same, but they work so well. It's like a timeless. It feels timeless to me, and that, like, if you design an RPG that with systems that make sense and that are good and with depth that like have enough in there to treat the player with respect, and that, like, it's not that easy, but I mean, all the tools are there, and it never feels cheap, then your game won't age. Like, maybe visually, but they fix that, so your game won't age. That's what it feels like to me. And I was wondering how you feel about, you played it on the 3DS, how it's been for you, because I mean, I've talked a shitload about the game at this point.
Oh my god!
Getting to see the game, the way that it is, and getting to experience it and see everyone else experience it and get to play it again in such a bigger way, on a bigger screen.
It's weird because I don't feel like that many people have really given much thought to Xenoblade Chronicles before. And now, like, I'm streaming it and people are like, oh wow, this is actually really interesting. I didn't realize there was a game like this that came out on the Wii. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, I'm interested in purchasing this game now. And that makes me happy, because I don't think people were particularly interested in the game before, because it looked like a Wii game. And then when it got re-released again, it looked like a Wii game, but in 240p.
Yeah.
It's still impressive that they managed to put that game on the 3DS, regardless of the fact that it wasn't, like... It's probably the worst-looking version of that game. But, there have been moments where I've just been, like... a little bit emo about the fact that they've done such a good job with it, I guess. Because I've always been a pretty big supporter of this game, and I've always wanted more people to play it. And it finally feels like it's had justice done to, like, the story and the characters and the world, in my opinion. I'm glad that the game is finally as pretty as it deserves to be.
And reaching...
Like, it's the same game, it just looks nicer.
Yeah. And reaching the audience it deserves to. Not that people didn't have a 3DS, but I feel like it got more attention on the Switch release than back then.
Well, you needed a new...
you needed a new 3DS
specifically that too.
To play it.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
It was like one of the only new Nintendo 3DS exclusives. It was that and, like, Fire Emblem Warriors, I think.
Yeah, I think it was... Was Hyrule Warriors?
No, that was... You could play that on a normal 3DS.
Okay.
Wild.
Warriors.
But I think the thing is, it's a niche game, for sure, because you really have to have patience to learn it, but I still would say it's worth learning for the story and for the characters and for the voice acting.
Performances are incredible, no question about it.
Found out I ran into a character in Final Fantasy XIV, and I was like, "That's Alvis."
Oh wait, there's also Shulk's in there too, by the way.
Yeah, I was watching your.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Fiora's in the game too.
It's just weird because, like, I have a lot of respect for these voice actors, and I do not want to make it sound like I'm trying to squish their achievements or whatever. But they aren't well-known actors here at all on any level. Like, I think Shulk's voice actor may have been in an episode of Doctors once. And he voiced the Hotel Trivago advert that everyone hated. So...
I think he's technically... Oh no, I was going to say he's, like, the most well-known, but the king of Alchemoth is the, like, big booming voiceover guy for the X Factor. So he's probably the most well-known.
I got a good voice, so makes sense.
And also Melia is a character from Doctor Who. So
wow.
maybe she's better. And she was in... she's in Victoria. She's Olivia Colman. Not Olivia Colman. That's... Blup, blup, blup. No, completely forgotten her name. Jenna Coleman.
I don't know Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I picked it up, and I'm looking forward to it, in a weird way.
Which is weird, because you mentioned the game and you started choking because it was blasphemous.
Oh, sorry.
Now, the 2 times that you've tried to play this game before, you've driven me nuts with complaining about it.
Yeah.
But now you've got Bill to complain to instead, so...
Well, I've got both of you to complain to now.
Oh, I'm leaving the conversation. I'm checking out. I can't do it a 3rd time.
Gosh, you're gonna do fine.
I mean, I'm telling myself that was 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. Me, I'm definitely smarter now. As in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm saying to people, I can't tell the difference between these 2 colors. What do you mean this visual effect or this tell? I don't know. I don't know what
it's
you're talking
prepping
about.
you though. You know, it's getting your brain thinking about things. You know.
Well, I'm still not noticing these things.
Sense. And you 2 have been playing Final Fantasy XIV a lot.
I was gonna do /playtime, but I decided not to because I've only been playing a month, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 19 days.
You never want to do that ever. That's.
I think the last I saw, I was at 6 days and 3 hours.
It's
or something like that.
revealing about yourself in a lot of ways.
You know, in World of Warcraft, if you do /playtime, does it just do it for that character, or does it do it for
you
your
can get
account?
an add-on that will add up all your characters' playtime and show it on one amount.
I dare you.
I'll do it next time I stream out. Actually, I'll just do it after we finish recording. I'll let you guys know because I'm curious myself. Actually,
I want to know.
I did it once, like 5 years
and
ago.
I will add it in post. What your time is?
It can show up on the screen. Yeah. Oh, whatever.
324 days.
It's got to be more than that, probably.
Oh, it's got to be in the thousands.
It's 15 years worth. It's got to be nasty. But never do that.
It's got to be in the thousands.
I'm gonna check it for science, but never check it. So obviously, since you are worried there's an unhealthy amount of hours in there, that means y'all must be enjoying yourselves, huh? With this MMO.
Well,
enjoying is a strange word.
We finished the second to last trial of A Realm Reborn today.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be in Heaven's Ward by tomorrow evening, in theory.
Amazing.
And that's the thing. We've gone through a whole base
JRPG,
game
pretty
in a
much,
month.
A year of MMO in 3 weeks or so.
Does that? I want to know how you guys feel about having to do that, in order to catch up to play with friends. I'm curious if
not good.
Yeah, I was wondering that because it's something I don't really appreciate. I mean, I get why they want you to see the story, but at the same time, in other games, you can kind of just level and then just kind of play with your bros.
It's been one of those where there's been stuff that particularly Abby wants to do, but also that I want to do that's locked behind Heavensward. And there are moments in A Realm Reborn where it's convoluted and long and unnecessary. And it's one of those things where I know that people are trying to be reassuring or whatever and be like, it gets better. Trust me, it's going to get good. It's
I've heard amazing things about...
Good. It's not good now.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about all of the expansions, but the thing that I'm kind of frustrated with right now is the fact that I am locked to level 50 quests at most.
Mm-hmm.
I am a level 58, 59 bard.
59.
Which means for the last 9 levels, I have gained no new abilities at all. Because I can't take the job quests to get the new abilities until I'm in Heavensward. That sort of stuff is very frustrating to me. The fact that I can't get more abilities in Fisher is frustrating to me. The fact that I can't get this certain currency from doing all of this fishing that I've been doing to get a Chocobo raincoat is frustrating to me. But despite all of that, I think this time around with playing it, I've felt like I've had more of a sense of community with it. I've gotten to spend way more time with my friends. I've gotten to reconnect with friends from uni who I've not spoken to in years. I've made a new friend. And that sort of stuff kind of makes it worth it to me. So, I guess that's kind of the point of an MMO. I'm not sure.
This is the first MMO where it's not been a solo experience.
Yeah, not like a solo experience where you go, oh, let's meet up and do dolmens for an hour. Or whatever. Yeah,
I guess I stuck with ESO for longer than I have other things because it was still like a chance to hang out with you to be doing random dolmens for 5 hours. Whereas this is like a more sustainable... It's a group of people who actually enjoy playing the game and doing this, that, and the other. And who have been playing it for like 5 years, so they're not likely to go anywhere. Hopefully.
I'm sure it's an interesting... Because my time with it is... I've always been kind of on the current timeline. I had to catch up to Heavensward, and it pissed me off. Like, Heavensward came out, my friend was max level, I wanted to play with him, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta do... Oh, Jesus Christ. But you know what? I decided to make the most of it, and I went back, and I like tried to pay attention to everything. I'm like, you know what? If I gotta go through this, I'm gonna try to, follow it, whatever. But I've always kind of been current after that, for the most part. So I've never really heard from anybody I know the perspective of somebody going from the very beginning through Heavensward, Stormblood, and then all of Shadowbringers to be able to play with people in the end game, because there's a lot. And it sounds like I'm trying to scare you. But I'm not. I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to say, like, the perspective.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. I don't mind there being a lot of it if the lot of it is good. Consistently.
I feel like we've gone through the worst of it, though. Like, I genuinely do feel that way.
I think once we've gotten past patch 2.1, I think was the last awful. It's been a little bit iffy in 2.3. I think
2.2 was really good. 2.3 was...
Yeah, and then 2.4 and what I've played of 2.5 has been good.
For me,
we're on the last patch.
Yeah,
so.
Base game didn't really get like super hyped to me until the very, very end of it. And then like that stuff leads into Heavensward, and then for me, Heavensward is just cool as hell. I mean, like there's still problems with some of the quest design, like you're just picking shit up off the ground for some guys. It's, all right, buddy, like this is what am I doing here? But I mean, that's an MMO, so it is what it is. Yeah. But generally, vibes. The cool vibe factor of Heavensward and the end of that story is just awesome. So I think your overall enjoyment will go up. It's just I'm sure it sucks to keep hearing that from someone, and it's like, dude, just trust me. Like, it just gets good, man. Hour 70, trust me. But I'm glad that they.
Well, because that's been like the main response to when Abby or I are in a call and being like, "This is miserable. I
was so close to buying a story skip, dude.
I am only enjoying this because I am with other people, but if I was on my own, I would have burnt this thing to the ground." And they're like, it gets better.
It's nice. I didn't know. I forgot you could technically get experience while catching up on these quests. So knowing, Abby, that you're like 58, 59, which is close to the level cap of Heaven's Ward, is interesting to me that the game does that and like teases you with things that you just simply can't use, despite you being able to technically use them. Well, that's crazy to me. I've never been in that situation.
It still pops up every 2 levels saying you can pick up the next job quest.
But you can't.
No, I can't.
Damn.
But I get why you're telling me.
But the thing is, I'm then gonna, like, as soon as I get to Heaven's Ward, I'm gonna do all of my job quests back to back and then have an entire expansion where I don't get a new ability as Bard.
Damn.
So I'm gonna have to pick up another class.
But I think, weren't they saying that after Heaven's Ward, fewer skills are locked behind jobs? Like, there are still some that will be locked behind jobs, but you will still be getting new skills.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm really not concerned with what's going on after Heaven's Ward, because I plan to sort of calm down and take my time a little bit more with Heaven's Ward. In regards to main scenario, at least, anyway. Yeah. Because there's just other stuff I want to do. Like, I've been really enjoying doing crafting. I enjoyed it in ESO as well. I was like max level woodworker, leatherworker, everything in that game. I just really like crafting for some reason, and my friend Phil taught me the ways of making high quality everything. So it's really good now that I can do that, because I can make money, and that's nice.
The crafting's really fun in 14. I like that they're actual classes. Like, that's interesting. Fun.
Yeah, because I think in ESO it was just like, go to a woodworking table, choose what you want to make. You've done it.
I mean, it was basically an Elder Scrolls thing.
Well, yeah. But, like, despite the fact that I have frustrations with the fact that I'm starting with arguably one of the weaker parts of Final Fantasy XIV, the only reason it being arguably is because 1.0 existed. Like, despite the fact that I'm going through the worst part of the current game, I'm enjoying it a lot, and I usually kind of bounce off MMOs after I've had them for like a month or 2 or something like that. I only played World of Warcraft for 2 months in total, because I just bounced off of it. Because there's just something about being shouted at in an instance where I'm like, what if
you did do that?
What if I didn't do that? What if I played with my friends who didn't laugh at me when my pet went AWOL? I don't know. I've really been enjoying it this go around, and I've not bounced off of it yet, so...
Honestly, it's the most important thing to not bounce off of an MMO is the thing that you all have made sure is there, and that is friends. I mean, that is people playing it also. People always logged in, or people, whether it's 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, you can always kind of rely on somebody there to do things. That's why all these years later I still play WoW, is because my cousin plays WoW, and he and I have leveled characters together for years and years, and so like I'm not sure how much I love WoW, but I do things by myself, but I'm not sure how much I would stick with it on a monthly basis like I am now, where I pay for more than 1 month if I didn't have someone there at my side playing it, and just that option, knowing that you could share something with someone, or like get an item and give it to someone, or whatever, that option is always there. And that's one of the things that made Animal Crossing more appealing this time around than when I played New Leaf, is that so many people were playing it, and I had mail always coming in, and like things were always active, and so that's super important in an MMO. So that is like no matter how much fun you might be having with the content itself at this point, being able to do anything with somebody else is really important. So I'm glad
you should come over. You forget World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I've played both. It's better.
Emily did also make the good point of, we're theoretically at great risk of burnout because of how hard we've been going at it to get through Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
And that is like a minor concern, because I have definitely noticed that during like patch versions, I'm like slowing down, and maybe that's healthier
Yeah, it definitely is.
It definitely is.
Slow down.
But it's like, will it slow down so much that I fall off it?
It happened to me. Well, it happened to me with Shadowbringers. I caught up through Stormblood. I did Stormblood. I rated in Stormblood, but I didn't play any of the patches. My friend and I kind of just fell off. We played a ton, and the next patch wasn't until like 3 or 4 months away. So we kind of ended up playing something else. And so I went back for Shadowbringers, and I resubbed like a month or two before. And I'm like, okay, let me go through all the Stormblood patches. And, it was hours upon hours of stuff. And, raids you had to do, trials you had to do. And I caught up. And then I was like, okay, fuck yes. Shadowbringers came out. And then I got halfway through Shadowbringers. And I was like, I'm just like burnt to the core. Not anything to do with the game. It's just I'm doing the same stuff technically. And I just rushed so fast through them. And I just felt like, I had to step away for a bit, and I never went back. But
But you're gonna come back, salt and vinegar.
I'd like to come back as you two get closer. Through at least into Stormblood. That's not me like putting a bounty on your time, like hurry up. It's just I'm playing WoW and other stuff, and it's like I can relax a little bit and not feel like I'm missing out on too much with y'all until you guys get a little closer. Because I do plan on it. I did reinstall it and everything, but
So I'm curious because I'm very biased towards a certain race. What race do you usually play when you're not playing Salt and Vinegar?
Well, funny story is when I made Salt and Vinegar with you guys, I changed my name on my main to Salt and Vinegar as well, and did a race change to an aura. So that is my main. So when I come back and play Salt and Vinegar, the Salt and Vinegar that you see won't be the one that you met originally. It'll be my main character, who's an aura, who is currently halfway through Shadowbringers, just lost and waiting for a time to come back.
Not enough people play
at every level.
Aura males, especially.
They're cool as shit.
In my opinion.
They're so cool. They have like some of the coolest hair options. They have like I have like these 6 glasses glamored onto myself. My guy's showing a lot of chest. He's hot as hell. It's just I'm just looking good in the neighborhood.
Whereas I'm like the most basic human.
You're just like random preset 1 here.
Except it wasn't preset. I chose so many options.
You look like a preset. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know I do. But I guess that's what humans look like half the time if they don't have like facial markings or anything.
Yeah, presets need love too, Kinos, it's okay.
Yeah. I'm just a preset human being.
But yeah, I do plan on coming back. It's just it's an interesting year for MMOs for me because like I'm really into WoW at the moment with my cousin, and Shadowlands comes out this year, and something about WoW just
like a time frame for Shadowlands or
Q4, which is any time between October and the end of the year. So a few months out.
So we'll probably get you for like maybe half a month before you're like.
That's the thing. That's the scary part about recommitting to another one is that like in a few months I will be all in on Shadowlands for a bit. At least until Cap, and then I'll see how things look at Cap because sometimes Blizzard fucks up the end game. But this one's looking promising. So yeah, we'll see though. It's always in my mind. 14, always. More so now than ever with everybody playing. So
it's weird that I've gone from like, I might enjoy Final Fantasy 14 to planning to go to FanFest next year because it's in London. So
those always look like a fun time.
Yeah, and it's like $200 a ticket apparently. So
that's that or a PlayStation.
You get to see a real life Ethernet crystal though. So
hell yeah.
I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I think part of it as well is the fact that since I bought the copy of the game that comes with all of the expansions, I had races offered to me that I didn't when we played the trial thing before. Because I really wanted to play an Ura. Like, really, really badly.
It is important to like how you look in an MMO. That also contributes a lot to how much you play. Is like, if you're just not really into any of the races or you just think you look doofy, you're just going to be like, all right, I fuck it, but...
I agree.
Yeah.
But I play an Ura now, and it just makes me happy. Like, that was the race I was always meant to play, I suppose. Because when I was playing a Mikote, I was like, I don't really care about this character. I don't like him. Like, I feel kind of dumb. Nothing against Mikotes, because they're cute.
I have been several
Just didn't
races
feel me.
on my main character for some reason. I have race changed. I started out as a human. I race changed to a Mikote for some reason. Then I race changed to the big dudes, the Rogadins. I renamed myself Boogrol Iron Gut. And then I changed to an Elazin, the big tall elf people.
I don't think the elves look good in this game.
They look horrible. I don't know why I changed to one. They look like freaking giraffes. Then I switched to who I am now. And I will never change again.
How many Fantasias did you pay for?
A lot.
That is the answer of someone who doesn't want to reveal playtime as well.
I was like, all right, here's some more money.
They've got a sale on them now, actually, if you want to stock up. So
you gotta look good to play good. So I was like, I had to find the right. And I finally got it. Playing Heaven's Ward and Stormblood, you meet a lot of Uras, especially Heaven's Ward. That's where the expansion they came into. And Yuguri, I don't know how to say her name exactly, comes into the story.
Yuguri,
you get introduced to them more, and it's like, I want to fucking be them. They're cool. So
we've met her, but she hasn't shown her face yet.
Yeah, which I only eventually realized was because that race wasn't in the game yet.
They hadn't put Ura in the game before.
So it was like,
and they're not from a Final Fantasy game?
Nope.
Yeah,
so you can't even guess, like, oh, it's the bunny people from Final Fantasy 12. Like,
it's just there's a dragony lizardy tail. Who could it be? What could it look like? Is it just going to be a dragonborn? No.
I am so glad that it wasn't a dragonborn. Tieflings, Uras, they're cool. They're just cool.
Or what are the lizard people called in Elder Scrolls? Could have been one of them.
Argonians.
Argonians, yeah.
What if the world was full of
the
Argonians?
fortune-telling lady from Shenmue 3.
I do want to hear your fortune. It's like, Jesus, lady, what the fuck is going on?
But yeah, I would highly recommend. I think it was free for a bit. I don't think it is now, but I'd highly recommend trying 14 if you are looking for an MMO. I know you probably have if you're interested in MMOs because it's pretty popular, but
yeah.
You can talk about Sakura Awards, and I'm gonna eat this pizza.
Well, I was gonna briefly say whilst you indisposed, like speaking of like falling off stuff, I didn't realize how much of Destiny 2 I missed until there was a live event, and I was like, man, I've missed out a lot. And now they've announced 3 more expansions. I'm like, man, I really want to play that game again.
I will say this as a brief aside, in the Destiny 2 realm here. I love that game. I will always play that game. I will play whatever they keep putting out. I find it very strange, though, that every big expansion, Luke Smith has to say on video that they're going to get things right this time. How many times does that man have to say that? What the hell do you guys keep fucking up? Luke, what the hell are you guys doing? The game's good. What the hell's wrong with it? Like, what's going on?
Was Shadowkeep the first non-Activision one, or is Beyond Light going to be the first non-Activision one?
Shadowkeep was, and I do know the problems, and I don't like the way that the game is currently structured, honestly, with seasons and the way you miss out on things and how many things are temporary. I think that's nasty. I understand the logic of putting seasons in. I guess it's like similar to putting in patches for an MMO, except you can still do the purchase for an MMO. The seasons are gone. And I'm like, well, I've now missed out on story. Yeah.
Because I couldn't keep up with the game because I was playing it on my own,
and I
so
think
it wasn't as...
Making each season cost money, too, is weird. And I mean, you can buy the season pass, but it's like, honestly, at this point, just let me subscribe to your game at this point. Like, I if you're gonna monetize content that way, then find a different way to do it. I don't know. Like, it feels like I could be playing the same game as you and new stuff just came out, but if I don't pay $15, we can enter playlists together, but like things are all conjointed and or just disjointed and weird, and so I get it, maybe what he's talking about, probably that they're going to stop that potentially, or understand that content shouldn't be temporary in that way. But
Beyond Light has a season pass.
Shit.
For 4 seasons, yeah.
Shit. Well, maybe they'll...
So at the very least, there will be seasons, whether you can still like play.
Right.
Like, if I feel like what they need to, again, I've not touched it for a while, but there are story elements based in a season.
Yep.
Those story elements need to stay. It's just that you can't do like event stuff, or like there's no season specific drops anymore.
And even then,
but you can still do like it. As I'm saying, like as a bare minimum,
right? Bare minimum, sure.
Bare minimum. Let me experience the story over the last year, because I'm going to go into Beyond Light, and there's going to be stuff that's happened with the Almighty and Rasputin, Osiris, that other robot, Saint 16 or whatever, Saint 66, that I'm not going to know.
Yeah.
And the only way to know is to read a wiki.
And it's a game that,
that was the problem with Final Fantasy 15. I was expecting Abby to come back. I think that she's actually walked away whilst we talk about Destiny.
She's like choking on her food, on that one.
Quick, if you want to say anything about Ryan,
I'm eating. No. Don't you say anything about Ryan. I'm eating.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. I mean, like, the big Almighty event was an interesting thing for them. I think, it was their first time trying something like that. It had some weird build-up, but ultimately it was a neat thing for them to do. It put them on top of Twitch for a little bit. It was nice for them. Put some interest back on the game, because as soon as they did that, the very next day or whatever, they had or 2 days apart, I don't remember the timeline, but had their big blowout, announcing the full commitment to Destiny 2, which I think is pretty cool. Everyone wants to see Destiny 3. Luke Smith came right out and said, too, after that, like, there are no plans for that right now. Like, we want to make sure this game is good, and make sure that, because people invest hours and money into cosmetics and grinding for loot, and it sucks to iterate sequels
because that's the thing.
That.
Like, realistically, what is the difference between a Destiny 2 and a Destiny 3, or Destiny 1 and Destiny 2?
Yeah.
It's basically expansions.
Yep.
It's just that they, like, the difference between 1 and 2 was pretty overhauly in terms of engine and things like that, but it's fine as it is. They can just expand on it.
Yep. I think
no need to start from scratch.
They recognize that too, I think, finally. It's like, you know what? We're not under Activision anymore. We don't have to do quarterly, yearly, whatever sequels that Activision wants to stranglehold its developers to do. No matter how successful any one game is, there needs to be another one. Despite these games being alive, in the age of the service game, you could probably stop iterating sequels every year. There's absolutely zero reason to do that. You just do big content drops. That's really all you need to do. And we see how unnecessary it is with something like Overwatch 2, where the game itself is just Overwatch. So you could play it together with everybody. Just you get
the fact
single
that they
player
said
stuff on top of it. It's clearly Activision.
That any hero released for Overwatch 2, you can play in Overwatch 1. It's like, okay, so I'm basically just paying another game.
It's a
for
big
the single
update.
player
It's
stuff.
a big update with expansion single player stuff on top of it, which is what Destiny 3 probably something, if Activision was still doing Destiny, we'd probably be getting some of this stuff and it would feel useless, and it would just feel like, why didn't you just add this to Destiny 2? In Overwatch's case, they kind of are. It's a weird situation. It's a good middle ground, I think. But yeah, so Destiny 2 continuing on as Destiny 2, smartest move, I think, going forward. 2023, they have schedules and expansions announced up till.
Yeah, which surprised me, because I thought that they'd said that they were working on the game after Destiny.
There is a rumor new IP from them. I believe job listings popped open.
So I mean, either way, interesting. But
cool.
It's also weird to think that there's another 3 years of that story.
Yeah. I assume they want to make it. I know Luke Smith is a big WoW fan. I assume in his mind it's like, let's just expand Destiny out into being a world that's always evolving rather than iterating, like WoW does and like any MMO does. A living, breathing world, rather than in installments. So I guess we're seeing that vision realized here, with what's coming up. So, anything that you have been playing that is of note?
What, in the last 6 months?
What is lighting a fire in your belly?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. Like, the weirdly most enjoyable experience that I've had gaming wise was, I mean, you and Abby stream a lot whilst we've been off the air. You have regular streams and things, and I've not managed to find that balance. And so I've only actually streamed one game, and that was A Plague Tale, and that was a long time ago, but I really enjoyed it. And I really hope that there's more from that story. But I unfortunately don't have much to say about it because it was so long
I think
ago.
it's a good shout, though. And it seems like a game that was overlooked by some people. I've always heard amazing things about it from like everybody who's played it.
Sure.
It's like this game owns, so it's like, you know, people should check it out.
Like when you look at it when you look at like a trailer for it, you're like, oh my god, it's Escort Mission the game. And it sort of is, but it does enough interesting things, and the characters are enjoyable enough that you're like, you know what, I don't really mind. And some deaths felt a bit cheap, and the rest were 100% my fault. And trying to remember like enough about that game as well. I just enjoyed it a lot, and if you haven't played it, I recommend it.
Nice. I think it's still on Game Pass. Not sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't tell you why I recommend it other than I had a good time.
Mean, that's enough. That's, you know, that's
I guess it's a stealth game that I finished. So that has to mean something. I haven't beaten Final Fantasy VII. I still don't know how I feel about that game, which is unfortunate. 25 hours in, you're like, I don't know whether I like this. It's satisfying in a lot of ways, but yeah, I look forward to hearing.
I'd like to talk about that game with you when you've beaten it. So, like, you know, your final thoughts on it when you've beaten it, and you know what I mean, and see it all encompassing and see how it ends, you know, and how it feels to finish part one of something that's going to have multiple parts. Because that really kind of, I think, evolves your opinion on it, I feel, even more, you know, once you've beaten it and it's like, okay, you know, this is just episode one, a very long episode one. So I'll be interested to see what you think overall once you have all of that in context, and you see just how batshit insane the from a
because like I was on good rhythm, and I don't know what happened, and then suddenly I stopped at chapter 13, I think. And
here,
I was going to try and beat it for this recording, and going back to that game after like 3 or 4 weeks off, it's pretty hard, but also I just wasn't into it.
I think you know, it's a game that's not that long compared to like a lot of JRPGs, but I also feel like. And I kind of talked about this a little bit when I was talking about Xenoblade, is I can understand someone getting burnt out on that, because 7 Remake really is an assault on, like, just what's the way I'm looking to phrase it? It's like there's really not much downtime in 7 Remake at all. And it can get exhausting because some fights are hard on normal, and I wouldn't have anyone tell me otherwise. That game is tough at times, and there's a lot of fighting. And like even normal enemies sometimes can be a pain in the ass, depending on how you have to break them. And when you're just going fight to fight to fight, area to area to area, it can feel a little burnout-y. And that's why like I appreciate the open air of Xenoblade so much, is that like, and why after 52 hours I haven't felt any burnout is because like it allows you to kind of like, you know, let your idle animation take over and just stretch for a second. Whereas, you know, 7 Remake, as much as I love it, it really is just like a constant assault. So I can understand either getting burnt out and just, you know, maybe losing some motivation after just it punching you in the face constantly, for sure.
I would like to beat it.
You're close.
You're really close. I imagine
knowing
that
where you are, you're really close.
I imagine that I will forget 90% of the stuff that happens by the time that part 2 comes out. So I sure as hell hope that there's a summary recap movie.
Yeah, with Liam Neeson in it. They had to do it.
Sorry about the eating noises that are going to be on the track.
That's fine. Unless you're going...
I mean, in my head it sounded like that, but I don't know.
Well, considering I had to get right up the microphone to do that, it's fine. And I apologise that it had to come through. Because it sounded awful in my head.
I get really paranoid. This is, sorry, off topic. But I get really paranoid when I eat on like Discord people, because in my head it sounds like I'm a horse.
Yeah, I get that.
But then
I'm paranoid.
My green blinky thing doesn't go off, so...
Yeah. My cousin Nick is always asking, always paranoid. He's always eating some kind of like peanuts or chips, and he's always like, "Could you hear that?" It's like, dude, just relax. I can't. I never could hear it. It's okay. Just eat, dude. Eat away, man. It's gonna be all right. Chomp the shit out of those chips. Even if I could hear them, I don't really care because I'm a big snacker too. So
I'll go back to bloody old
now
Skype recording
eating on
podcast.
stream. Oh yeah, the corn nuts. Yeah, I mean,
Coin.
Eating corn nuts. It's like, can you hear that? Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, eating on stream, I'm really self-conscious about. I'll turn the camera off for that, even if you could hear me. I just don't want anyone to look at me eat.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a sound thing. That's
I'm not doing mukbangs or anything like that. You don't gotta see me just eat a forkful of Alfredo. It's fine. You just like,
I ate a bagel on stream yesterday, but I kept like dipping my head off of screen to like take bites because for some reason when people are watching me eat, I eat like a child. I was like, oh, I can't work out how to bite things anymore. It's weird.
How do I swallow? Yeah, no. Considering we've been off for so long, I don't think I've played that much.
Well, you probably have, but it's probably just not worth talking about because it's
not
been
worth talking,
6 months since you played it.
Such short things. Obviously, Animal Crossing was a big part of life.
Yeah,
it's calmed down a bit now.
The whole situation, yeah. The Animal Crossing trajectory has been interesting. Yeah, you know what I mean. We've all played it, talked about it in every channel humanly possible. I guess I'd be curious to know if either of you are still playing it every single day or not.
No,
me neither.
I try to at least boot it up every day.
I want to do that.
The terminal to look for KK albums, but I'm not playing it for as long.
Yeah.
And there are days where I just forget and miss it.
I mean,
once I missed that first day, it was like, well, I don't have to do it every day now.
It's bad, yeah. It sets the tone.
It's more disheartening when you're like, I've been logging in every day. Today's going to be my 7-day streak. But day 1. I'm like,
you forgot to log into the terminal.
But I know I definitely played yesterday. I just didn't go to the terminal. Oh no.
I think a break. Oh god, I'm really sorry. I think a break from that game is like perfectly reasonable. Like it's always going to be there. That's the thing.
That's the beauty of Animal Crossing, really. You know what I mean? It's like.
And like the only daily thing that I'd be missing out on by not playing every day, other than Miles, is fossils. But I've not had a fresh fossil for weeks.
Me neither, dude. It's always a duplicate.
And Red hasn't visited for weeks, so I'm not missing anything.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
other than, and then it's when the announcement comes of don't forget to catch these fish and things. It's like, okay, now I need to play for a couple of days and catch the season stuff that's going to be.
I think that's one thing that hurt me is that I missed out on some of the fish, and it like really stung my soul. And I'm like, now I just don't want to log on right now because I just feel like I could just fucking time travel and go get those damn fish. Yeah. But like when I missed those, I tried so hard to get the tuna, and it was the only thing I needed, and I missed out on it. Like, I tried. I used like 80 bait, never got a fucking tuna. What the fuck?
I refuse to believe that stringfish exist and that golden trout exist. They don't.
I love the game. I love that game. Put an ungodly amount of time into it. The most time I put in an Animal Crossing game since the GameCube. So, and the time we all had together, over that month or two, everybody playing it was amazing. It was really reminiscent of, it was like our Pokemon Go moment, but in our house. And it was very apt,
It just came out at such a good time as well. Like, not for the world, but for keeping people sane at home. Like,
Yeah.
perfect game.
And everyone was playing it. It was a neat moment in gaming for sure.
I'm looking forward to playing more of it in winter, because I always like...
Yes, that's super different vibes, yes.
Yeah.
Or at the very least autumn, where trees hopefully
That
start
too,
to turn.
Halloween.
Yeah, when we start getting more events and stuff, it's gonna be pretty great, so...
Yeah. I have to remember to log in on my birthday.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that for a while. And then I think I'm going to have bigger problems in my life, like turning 30, rather than logging into Animal
Crossing.
Crossing.
Not till, like, next year.
Well, that's the only next birthday I have.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 29, dude. Thanks.
Sorry. It's because I haven't had mine yet. So I'm like, it's next year's.
Senior citizens now? We're a bunch of senior citizens.
I'm the oldest one, so I take offense to that.
I'm getting there.
I feel like the oldest one.
You're getting there. You're getting there at the same rate as me, mate.
As in how I feel.
I'm a 28-year-old old man, senior citizen.
You're not 28. You're like 21. You've always been 21.
25.
The Permadeath narrative for you ever.
You were born at 25 years old.
I could just start drinking now. But yeah. So cool. Yeah. So it was worth a shout. Animal Crossing. You know, it's good. I've been playing.
There's a lot of like user experience things that could be tweaked.
Yes.
Probably never will, but you know, at this point,
the time for UI adjustments is probably long gone, unless they just surprise everybody. But I don't know if they'll do that.
I just want furniture and not the same recipes fucking every day.
I do think they could improve the rate at which you get DIYs, yeah, and furniture in general. The acquisition of items could be a little bit better. The acquisition of DIYs could be a little bit better. For sure.
Considering I have just like an ocean of DIY cards on my island for anyone to have, and everyone's like, no, I've fucking got 16 basket pack recipes at home, I'm good, thanks. Yeah. I don't know. I really do like this Animal Crossing. I think it's the best Animal Crossing, but sometimes you just gotta play Final Fantasy XIV instead.
For insert hours here.
Oh, I'm not doing the / playtime. I ain't doing it. You can't make me. I'll do it in like a year when that amount of time spread over a year sounds reasonable.
Until it says 200 days.
Well, yeah, there is that, I guess. Did Bill talk about Sakura Wars while I was eating pizza?
Nope.
No, we talked about Destiny.
Oh, I fell asleep as soon as you said it, sorry.
Yeah, I want to give a small shout to Sakura Wars, because I feel like it's a game that probably sold 20 copies, and it's one of Sega's efforts of localizing a niche game. One of the first Sakura Wars games to come out in the States in a very long time, from my understanding. And it's kind of like their revival of the series. And I wasn't sure what to, I had mixed signals on what I thought this game was, and what it ended up being before I bought it. I bought it knowing what it was, but when it was originally announced, it seemed like, oh man, it's like an action RPG with mechs and dating sim stuff, like very Persona-like type game. But as it turns out, it's more of an adventure. There's no RPG elements at all. That you're not like leveling anything up. You're not like equipping equipment or anything like that. It's like very strictly an adventure game / visual novel set in a theater in 1940s Japan. And the bulk of the gameplay, so when I found this out, I was like, would I like that? I don't know. But then it's like, Bill, you fucking play Shenmue, you dumbass bastard. Like, of course you like games where you just walk around, as long as the game is good. Not like Shenmue 3. So, but with Sakura Wars, it's a mix of a lot of things, though. And it's like everything, it's like they made the game. Once I realized that, Bill, you will like this, and I bought it, I love it. I love this game. And I think if anyone likes, now the thing is, the one caveat about it is it's designed with a very specific audience in mind, and that is men. Is the only thing I would like from the character designs to the fan servicey tropes to the misunderstanding type moments of a harem anime, it is very dialed in to a very specific vibe. And depending on your opinions on shows like that, I typically don't watch harem anime because they annoy me. But the thing with the game is I could not make it a harem. I could pick the girl that I want to, romance, so to speak. Whereas the anime, usually the guy doesn't decide till like episode 23, and it's like you've done nothing for me.
You've watched one where they decide.
That's that's the other thing too. Sometimes they don't.
He decides in Love Hina, doesn't he?
I don't watch Love Hina.
I think in the manga, I read the manga of Love Hina. But that's the other thing is these harems are so long. Usually, if it's a manga, then the anime usually only gets you 12 episodes, and at that point, it's just like an advertisement. Well, in Sakura Wars, you get to choose, thankfully. Nice. But it's a very specific audience in mind, very demographic. So like I would have someone keep that in mind when looking at the game. Now, generally, the character is designed. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. I'm sorry. Okay, the guy who did Bleach, Tidy. Kubo, what I mean? I'm not going to say his first name in the way that most people probably say his first name.
Taiti, did you just say?
Taiti, Titty, Tight, Tite. How the hell do you say his fucking name?
How do you spell
his
it?
name is Tite. It's a Japanese name.
Tite.
Tite.
Tite, yeah.
Even then, it sounds hilarious. There's no way to say that without sounding like you're saying that in a fancy way.
Like, no, you just say titty.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like tite. Like it just doesn't sound. It's I'm not making fun. Hey, the guy's successful. Whatever. But
yeah, I'm sure he's just like Biru-san.
Who's this fucking guy? I'm gonna end his career. He's a podcaster. He's done. Fuck with the Godfather of Bleach. I've never really watched Bleach, but I've always kind of liked the guys' faces. Like, when it comes to anime character designs, I really like a good face. Because some shows they look copy-paste. I like a good distinct, like, oh, that's definitely that guy who designed that character. And I could usually tell his faces. So when they announced he was designing the characters and everything, I was like, oh, cool, I like their faces. What is this? I like all of the designs for the most part. So that helps. And it looks like you're playing an anime. So the game is like playing, even the way it's structured, episodically, like Alan Wake. Every chapter ends like an episode of an anime where you get like a next time on, you get ending credits, you get music, you get intermissions and all that stuff that you could save the game at and then like put the game down like an episode break. But beyond being a 3D adventure game visual novel, it's also a story about mechs. And the way the game is set up is each major city in the world has a combat review. REVUE, not like, I'm going to review this game.
Oh, like a comedy review.
Yeah. And they are tasked with defending that city from demons and other threats. And each one is kind of has a front, has an organization that they are involved in that, like, will tell people that, oh, these people, like, for example, your group are a theater and they put on plays, and that's where their base is. They need a big base, they need a big building to hide their mechs underneath, but nobody knows that the people in that theater troupe are the fucking pilots of these mechs. They are hidden from society. So they have a front.
So the mechs are like, even though they're fighting demons and stuff, and every country has one, they're like still a secret. Kind
of, yeah. Like, who is involved in them specifically?
Okay.
So, but each major city has one, and you are a former military commander who is put in charge of the Flower Division in Tokyo. Tokyo's combat review is kind of in shambles. The theater's all decrepit. All the people involved, all the people like acting in the plays, are like really bad. And you're put in charge of improving everything, the theater and the combat review, and like putting them back on the map. Because right now the Shanghai combat review are the ones protecting Tokyo, and you don't want that. This is our turf. Get out of here. But the whole idea, is you kind of building this theater up, getting to know the characters, going through your slice of life moments, roaming around the theater, getting to know the layout, doing fun side mini games, and playing cards, and all these goofy fun things you can do. You could like navigate the city like Persona, go to the different areas, talk to people. A lot of the slice of lifey stuff, that is cut out of, that is like a big staple of Persona is kind of how this game is structured. But then at the end of every chapter, it's I liken it to Star Driver in a way. In the way that Star Driver, every episode of Star Driver is slice of life school stuff, and then Kirabosh, and then everyone's fighting. Somewhere. And so at the end of every chapter here, something will happen where you have to get into your mechs. And then that combat is a fucking Muso game. So not only am I getting to live out a slice of life romance mech anime in a theater with themes based around theater and plays, and characters who are very heavily into theater. Not that I'm like, I'm putting, I don't know why I'm putting so much emphasis on the theater part, as if like I'm a big theater buff. Hey, it's cool. I like it. But it's cool to, be in that environment. It's not a school. And then at the end of every chapter, I get to play a Muso game as a mech. And like, it's legitimately the same amount of depth that I would get in a Dynasty Warriors game. Square, triangle, square, triangle. Build up my meter, circle, Muso move, kill everything. And it's fun as hell. And it's slick as hell. And each mech, each girl in your review has like different abilities for their mech. One of their mechs uses a fucking spell book. One of the mech has a giant hammer. One has like dual blades. And you can swap between them in combat. And like, as you romance them in the game and build your trust with them, they get more abilities. So it's awesome. It's like Billy's dream game as a mech fan and a slice of life fan and a Muso fan. It's a ridiculous, weird mix that isn't like amazing, like in terms of like breaking new ground. Like it's very fairly, I'd say it's 7.5 out of 10 type of game. But if the niches in there click with you, oh, you're gonna love it, because like it's just the vibes are to quote the youth, the vibes are immaculate. If you are into this kind of stuff. The music especially, a lot of horns, good stuff.
Why are you quoting the youth to us?
We're old.
Yeah, but that means that I don't understand what you mean. To quote the youth, this slaps. Okay, what does that mean?
It means that the vibes are immaculate.
All right.
But yeah, I'm just having a blast with it. I'm playing it, taking it real slow. It's not a very long game, per route. Like you'd ideally play it multiple times if you really care about romancing everyone. I don't usually do that kind of stuff, so I'm gonna pick my main favorite and just kind of call quits. But I'd say about 15 hours or so. But I'm playing it like I'll turn it on, play to an intermission, stop for a bit, turn it on, play till intermission. There's a lot to do in there. There's optional combat challenges. If I just want to play a Muso game with mechs for a while, I can go into the basement and hook myself into the combat simulation thing and pick from all the characters, because depending on the battle, they pick them for you. But it's good. It's really good. It really surprised me. If any of that stuff, to anyone listening, that stuff sounds like it'd be up your alley, you'll probably enjoy it, because it's really charming. A lot of life. Characters are really great. Cool game.
Here's the thing. You said Star Driver, and I'm intrigued, but you also said it's not a girl, not a girl game. How do I feel?
So and to put emphasis on that, there's things in there that are uncomfortably developed. So like, for example, there'll be a moment where
I'm sorry, you're talking about a harem, and then you say uncomfortably developed.
Yeah, from a video game standpoint. So like, look at it this
way. Okay.
So the reason I say it's obviously primarily designed for that like shonen audience who's like just wants to be like, oh, that character sucks, baby. Like, someone like that who's like hyped as shit to see the littlest, briefest moment of fan service. There are moments in this game where, for example, just last night as I was playing it, there's a point where you're shopping for books with one of the characters, and she gets up on a ladder, okay, and your character's like, whoa, whoa, like oh, but they give you the option to take the right stick and look. And now you can get caught. There's like a caution meter, but it's like that's very clearly targeted towards a very specific human being. And so like I would want to always give that disclaimer when recommending this game, because I wouldn't want anyone to be blindsided by stuff like that because it's creepy, and there's a fair amount of it in various spots where you have options where you could like bust in the bath, like and like you get negative points.
What?
Like these characters get mad at you when you do things like this if you get caught. So there's no reason to really ever do it unless you just like really want to watch hentai. At that point, like I don't even know why it's in the game because it really doesn't benefit you at all when you could just as easily just go like get this shit somewhere else. So it's weird in a way that it's in there and it's featured so prominently at times when it comes to a choice. It's not just like they fell on me type of thing. It's like, no, I have the option to take this stick and like look up, and it's strange, in that regard. There's never anything shown. It's just the intent is weird, and it puts the player in a weird position. So generally,
what if they're collecting the data of all the people that do that?
I would love to do like Persona collects data like that. I would love them to have a way in the back end to be like 85% of our players looked up her skirt, and we got to make more of that. So it's weird. And I mean, generally, besides stuff like that, and some of the character designs, specifically, are extremely voluptuous in a way. It's that word.
Yeah, it's an anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But besides that, if you've played visual novels where the choices are women, like it's not any more unusual than that. You know what I mean? Like, you've all played Persona. They give you no other options but to be straight in those games. So it's unfortunate. But females do play those games too. So I guess I shouldn't say it fits into one demographic specifically, but it's very heavily in. Like, hey, you'll fucking horny bastard, look up. It's like, okay, like what the hell? Like what? Why? You don't have to target them that hard. They're gonna play your game anyway.
I love that you said before this. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Sakura Wars.
Yeah, it kind of went on, for a little bit.
You do this every time. You're like, I just want to quickly mention. And then it's like half an hour.
But, check it out, everybody. If all that stuff sounds good, just beware. You're a pervert in it. And that's all I've played. Well, obviously I've played more, but... nothing
Most
else.
of it's on stream.
Most of it's on stream. I have very specific...
which you can check out at twitch.tv/Permadeath.
Yeah, I have very specific targeted rants about Shenmue 3. I want to get my blood pressure up right now on a Sunday. You know what I mean? It's, it's the Lord's Day.
Lord Rio.
All right. Is that everything then? We talked about everything?
I think we've smashed.
It's been 3 hours.
We have smashed. We've kicked
I do believe.
ass.
It's a very dense. It's not a PC gamer show type podcast. It's been
that is
bam,
3
bam,
hours of video game expert analysis, industry analysis on display. Permadeath Podcast episode 47. Where else you gonna get that? Internet.
Episode 48.
Yeah.
Hell yes. More expert video game analysis coming up next time.
After these messages.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for always sticking with us. As Cameron mentioned, in the downtime since we've been between episodes, we have been streaming quite a bit. And you can find those streams on each of our personal channels, which we'll have in the description down below. But we can shout them out with our voices, too, in case you're listening in the car and you just want to hear that and make a mental note of it. You can find me, of course, twitch.tv, obviously, /Pepperdam. Not very hard to find. Just always look for...
Can you shout my channel out, please?
Yeah, I was going to say, Bill, what's Ebby's channel?
So twitch.tv /Elysian Yeah, how about that? Y'all try to gotcha me. Y'all try to get me in a corner.
Yeah.
Elysian.
I've been practicing. You know what I mean? Like my vocal lessons every morning in front of the mirror.
I'm so proud. You played Xenoblade and you learned how to say my username.
I nailed that. I've been nailing my British accents. You know what I mean? I've just been killing it. I'm a real actor.
Not from what I've heard. But...
yeah, I'm a real actor now. Look for me in Shenmue 4.
He's got a tattoo on his head.
I'll play like the one of 3 characters in the game.
Can you give me a read of just questioning The Mad Angels? Can you just give me a quick read of that, please?
As Rio? Or,
yeah, we'll start as Rio.
Hi. Could you tell me something? Have you ever heard of the Mad Angels? Whoa, bro!
That was good.
You gotta not say that so loud, bro!
You know, you read my mind. I was gonna say, now do a Goro voice.
Say what? Mad Angels? Yeah. I'll be in Shenmue 4, no problem.
I think you got it.
In order to get in a Shenmue game, you just have to be able to do like 2 types of voices.
You just have to have a microphone, to be honest.
And to be able to technically read.
That's our show, everybody. Oh, wait, Twitch. Kinross, you're dang Twitch.
Well, like I said, I haven't done
It's
anything for a long time.
twitch.tv/Kinross07.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
You can follow us all on Twitter
He's gonna
as well.
stream. He's gonna stream because I'm paying for a subscription, so he's
I know, I feel so bad every time. I'm like, man, people are paying and all they're getting is this hot dog and I just don't have, I haven't got
you're gonna
time
become
or anything.
a pro Savage Raider Final Fantasy 14 streamer. I know it's gonna happen. I'm waiting for the future to become a reality.
I've not even done a raid yet.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, once it clicks with you and you're just rocking, you know what I mean, doing Savage, leaving everyone else behind, you know what I mean? It's gonna be just an amazing moment in the history of Kinross, you know what I mean? Leading the best guild on you know, the server, and you know, everyone knows the Ninglehorf name. Everybody knows it, and it's amazing, and you know, the world's never the same. Things change, paradigm shifts. You know, amazing. World hunger's cured, and you know, economies are fixed, and you know, it's all because of Ningle. That's our show, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
All links to our socials are down below. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, what do we say?
See you in the
See
history.
you in the history.
Bye-bye.
Bye.